It's up to us then if we want to, if it's not dated, if you want to run it at 7 a.m. On Wednesdays, you know,
right?
because 3 of our 5 affiliates won't hear it. And I know people, listen in very different ways now and download and all that, but what's up, Tim? EB, AJC, Baby Jules. Hope everybody's week got off to a good start. It does seem like a very good hire. I know nationally the hire has gotten very good reviews. And I've not talked with her, no. EB.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Tuesday. We hope your week got off to a good start. Thanks for starting your day with us. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, David. Good morning. Got a good night's rest. Feel ready to go. A little charged up in a good mood this morning. We did something last night as a family that we haven't done in, I don't know, a long damn time.
2023?
It could be. We don't watch a lot of television in our house that's not a sporting event.
Right.
Period. I mean, there's something on every damn night.
Yeah.
And my wife works long hours, and she's cool with watching sports. And by the time we get our daughter to bed, usually the two of us are exhausted to the point of we're just going to bed and we're not going to sit down and watch a show. And a few people had been raving to me, and I had seen part of NBC/Peacock's documentary series, The Americas. And I'd watched about 5 minutes of it, 10 minutes of it. And I said, this looks pretty cool. I'd rather watch this with my wife than watch it alone. And we made the horrific mistake and promised my daughter, if she made her travel gymnastics team, that she would get a phone. Horrible mistake.
Yes.
Horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Was not my decision. I had nothing to do with it. But then again, how much do I have anything to do with in our house?
Right. You're the driver. Okay.
Right.
And then you do the job well.
So the phone started out as a weekend only. And my daughter gets terrific grades. She does. I mean, she's an all-A student. So when she kind of started getting in the car and using the phone, what am I supposed to say? You can't use your phone. Your grades aren't good. I've got nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And she knows, she's already learned at 10 that it doesn't really matter what dad says anyhow. What's mom think about the whole situation?
And I'm in the back seat while he's driving. What can he do to me on this trip?
Bingo. So last night was an off night in the Miller household. We very rarely have an off night when there's no softball, no gymnastics, no nothing. And no practice, nothing. And the daughter, we had dinner. The daughter was, I made the daughter kind of, shower up before dinner. My wife got home a little late on Monday. So after dinner, she was essentially ready for bed. And we announced to our daughter that it was going to be family time, that she could not go back to her room and continue playing a stupid game on her phone with her friends.
Oh, my goodness.
She was beside herself.
Of course. I mean, it's the end of the world as we know it.
And we watched the first episode of The Americas together as a family. Spent 45 minutes watching, a somewhat educational type show, informative type show. And I'll be damned, the daughter didn't complain all the way through it. She actually liked part of it. She enjoyed family time at the end of it. So we had a really nice night. Put the daughter to bed. We went to bed. I got a great night's sleep and raring to go this morning.
Well, and that's good also. You took advantage of the fact that it was a slow sports night, and we've got the NBA and the NHL playoffs that are about to get going. So we got a lot of sports watching during the week and maybe into the wee hours of the morning, because you know what playoff hockey means.
Well, and David, that's what I told my wife. She said, nothing on? I said, really nothing this week. I go, there's the NBA play-in games, but let's be honest, we don't really care about the NBA play-in games. But the NBA and NHL playoffs are going to start in earnest this weekend. And I said, so for the next 3 months, I know what I'm doing every night.
My wife asked that question. She goes, I heard you say something about the playoffs beginning. And I go, yeah. She goes, so does that mean it's like over by the end of the month? I'm like, oh, no.
Mid-June, ma'am. Mid-June.
No, this is an 8 to 9 week process here. No. 4 rounds. Every round takes 2 weeks. No. She's like, oh, boy. I go, oh, yeah, seasons are long. Seasons are too long. Everybody agrees the seasons are too long, but now you get to the good stuff. And
yes,
outside of most of us wanting the NBA to shorten their first round from a best of 7 to a best of 5, what is interesting is we don't ask for that in hockey, but we ask for it in the NBA. We're okay with the first round in hockey being a best of 7.
Well, I think that's because, David, the X factor in hockey is the goaltender. And with a hot goaltender, really any team can upset any team. And it's damn near impossible for a 7 or an 8 seed to win in the NBA playoffs, albeit the West this year is going to be a little more interesting.
Either that, or if Jimmy Butler is on your 7 or 8 seed. Let's face it, where Jimmy Buckets goes, upsets happen. And remember, Jimmy Buckets is on a 7 seed in the West, although they could be an 8 or they could miss the playoffs. But right now, they finished the regular season, did the Warriors, as a 7 seed, and they're at home tonight. And if they win, they will enter the playoffs as a 7 seed and get Houston. More on that a little bit later on. By the way, we'll talk a little association. Yes, we will, with our buddy Keith Smith, who will join us in about an hour and a half. Well, sometimes it takes until Tuesday morning, lunch, to find out a big sporting event's numbers on Sunday, and sometimes they figure it out Monday afternoon. So the Masters ratings are in.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Especially when they started slow. Thursday was down with no LT Gray. ESPN's numbers on Thursday were down. Not by the end.
No. And let me tell you, it also shows you how many people tune in at 7 o'clock for 60 minutes still. Because the 7 to 7:30 time period did 19.5 million people watch the playoff hole and watched Rory's emotional reaction to winning. 19.5 million people were watching at that point in time. But it's the highest rated golf tournament of any kind in 7 years, which I found interesting that this outrated Tiger's win in 2019. I mean, come on now. You beat Tiger in the ratings. I mean, that's pretty impressive, and this did. So 12.7 million people watched the final round of the Masters, and we're talking about a 5.5-hour broadcast here, 2 to 7:30, and it really went to about 7:40-ish. But 12.7.
That is a monstrous number for CBS. They are still doing cartwheels all the way to the private airport in Augusta, all the way back to New York. They've been doing cartwheels.
Now, CBS had a hell of a week because remember, Monday, 2 Mondays ago, NCAA final did 18.1 million, and that's the highest rated final since before the pandemic also. So the championships, if you will, when it's all on the line, college hoop, Rory, Augusta, and the Masters, the numbers are there. We're watching. And 12.7. I don't know. First off, the NHL will not have a game that approaches that.
Oh, no.
Even game 7 of a very compelling finals, like last year, Edmonton and Florida, by the time it was game 7, it was like 7.8 million people on a Monday night on ABC. And even if you had better teams in terms of bigger fan bases and what have you, the NHL is not going to approach 12.7 million. But I don't know if the NBA Finals gets there until, I don't know, game 3, 4, or 5 either. Like if it's a compelling finals, then that's the first time I think the NBA puts up a number that rivals 12.7 million. And keep that in mind as to how long it takes Major League Baseball. Remember, 15 and change was the Yankees and the Dodgers. Tough to do better than that in terms of teams bringing in audiences. So, yes, big number. Big number. And now Augusta turns around to those 4 sponsors and says, hey, and next year, how about a little bit more? And the sponsors are thinking, oh, come on, man, we're not going to get Rory to win. What's the storyline next year that could be as compelling? Ratings will probably be down 20, 30%. And Augusta will just throw a little something on top.
Because everybody deals on 1-year contracts with Augusta National.
Yep.
That's the way that it works. They determine what they pay, they determine who pays, and they determine how much.
They decide if they want to keep you. But I was impressed with the number.
Absolutely monstrous. We know about this, kind of, but it is the one other fun little sneaky thing about Augusta, that for many years, the same guy played as the marker. If they have an odd number of people that make the cut, the best member at Augusta National will play with that first group. And the same guy did it for about 20 years. Well, they've got a new member. He's 50 years old. He's the CEO of a financial type company. And apparently he's long. And he played with Tom Kim. And Tom Kim was interviewed and asked, he's a baller, hits it long. But the player remains somewhat anonymous. Never does interviews, never talks to anyone. The bib of his caddy has no name on the back. He has a green Masters carry bag. And when he finishes playing, he shakes his competitor's hand and he leaves. And he goes to the locker room, showers, cleans up, puts on his green jacket, and watches the rest of the tournament. But it's one of the stories of legend at Augusta National, how these guys end up playing in the tournament. Miller and Moulton, great show lined up for you today. David Samson, Keith Smith, Pat Kirwan, and Seth Everett. The starting five, 25 minutes away. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Actually, we will not remember that as if you remember Rory winning as a choke, that's on you. Rory did not choke. Rory had moments where he had looked like he was going to choke, but you can't say it after the shot he hit on 15, the shot he hit on 17, and the shot he hit in the playoff on 18. That's not a choke. You're wrong.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Samson, Keith Smith, Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett, all a part of the show today. We're very excited about that. 21,000, the text line with whatever's on your mind. There's a few people in the Twitch chat room who are insisting that Rory choked.
No, there's one person in the Twitch chat room.
Oh.
It's the same one yesterday. He's been at it for 2 days. He's wrong. You don't win the Masters. If he would have lost the Masters, it would have been an epic choke. But you don't hit the shot he hit on 15, the shot he hit on 17, and the shot he hit on 18 the second time and tell me that's a choke.
Now, there's no doubt the pressure got to him. Even he admitted. He said, I was very nervous, as nervous around a golf as I've ever played. But, you know, ultimately he got it done. What did he shoot? A final round 73? You know what is interesting is they've come up with the number now. You know, if you remember early in the tournament, folks were saying 11. The number is 11. You have to get to 11. Sometimes you need more, but the magic number is 11. And sure enough, what were Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose when they headed into the playoff? 11 under. So just something for us to keep in mind in future Masters. You know, somebody shoots whatever it is they shoot in the first round or wherever they are after 36 holes. Basically 11-ish, you know. So just keep that in mind. I will say the one, you know, there were all sorts of, you know, the last 8 winners, you know, came from the final group and, you know, which obviously Rose would have broke that if he had won. But also Rory 7 back after the first round. You know, it had been
not in the top 10, not within 4, not the things
Right.
we were talking about on Friday morning that 17 to 18 had been within 4.
right.
7 of 8 had been within the top 10, I believe it was. So
you
yes.
know, so there were a couple of things that Rory, and, you know, a couple of middle 66s will do that. I will say, I mean, think about it. Justin Rose opens with 65 and finishes with 66. And on Friday, Saturday, Rory goes 66, 66. I mean, those two guys, you know, not on the same day, but boy, I think somebody said that their best ball Sunday would have been 59, but also that, you know, you could have added it up where they shot 80 also. I mean, you know, Rory helped with 2 doubles and Rose made, you know, what, 4 bogeys? I mean, it's tough to shoot 66 with 4 bogeys.
It is. It really is. Damn right. Doubles will bite you right in the behind. It is tough to overcome those. But if there was a player that choked, there are 2 players that choked. Bryson DeChambeau choked. In the moment, he forgot how to putt. He forgot how to putt. He didn't, you know, he wasn't 3-putting at all. He 3-putted what, 2 of the first 3 holes? That was a choke. Blowing putts 9 feet past the hole. And Oberg choked at the end. Was right there. Made a triple bogey on 18 and sculled one over the green with a chip.
Cost him some money. You know,
like $1.3 million worth of money.
Well, after he bogeyed 17, though, he wasn't going to win. You know, he bogeyed 17 and Rose then had, you know, threw in the birdie on 18. So Oberg, unless he holed his second shot on 18, wasn't going to get in a playoff. But yeah, he went from 9 under to 6 under. thanks to a 7 on 18. And that cost him, instead of a T3, what did he end up, like 6th or 7th, something like that? But we put the Masters to bed, and we're about a month or so away from the PGA, and I'll be curious whether or not, Rory's won the Players and he's won the Masters. And you'd have to argue right now he's the most popular player in the sport, right?
Well, I mean, of guys that are playing.
Right. Well, the other guy's not playing.
Right.
I mean,
He's
the other
still
guy's
the most popular, though.
He is, but he's not playing. I mean, he's not in a field. I mean, hell,
It may never be again.
He couldn't make it through a TGL season.
Right.
Not that he's injury prone or anything. But so, we'll see a month from now when the PGA, on a course that Rory has won on 4 times, trying to do something that, as Mark pointed out yesterday, hell of a trivia question, by the way, that the last golfer to win the Masters and the PGA in the same year is Jack in the 70s. Damn.
Well, and you love that symmetry 50 years ago. So will it be equaled 50 years later? And I know how much you love
I do.
Symmetry sometimes that sports provides us.
I do. And I'll just say this and then move on. But next year will be 60 years since Jack went back to back. He was the first guy to go back to back, 65, 66. It'll be 50 years since Ray Floyd won, and he set the scoring record, which stood for quite a while, I think till Tiger. And then, of course, it'll be 40 years since arguably the most famous Masters, Jack with number 6. Oh, and will it be 30 years since Norman blew the 5-shot lead on Sunday? 5 or 6 was it? I think it was 6.
6, I thought, but you're better at that than I am.
And Faldo with the great comeback. So, I mean, we've got, you're going to be hearing, if Phil was still liked by the Masters, they'd bring up 20 years since, he won in 06, but, that won't get mentioned. That ship has sailed. Miller and Moulton. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I don't know if there is anything that Major League Baseball can do. And I think it's why we made such a big deal about opening day and how it is that baseball should have handled it. Because, Mark, are we talking any baseball on this show?
None.
I mean, very little, mentioning the Braves struggled and some injuries. And, we do the starting 5 every morning, and we're letting you know who's doing well and who's not and that sort of deal. And now think about it. You got the NBA and NHL playoffs that are beginning in earnest. We're 9 days away from the NFL draft.
And not that we really get into talking about our teams, and we try to avoid it. But, I mean, if we were to get into baseball, team David roots for, they're in first place. The team I root for, they're in first place. Oh, by the way, the Cubs, pretty popular team, first place. Who's leading the AL East, you ask? Oh, it's the New York Yankees. And then you have 3 teams off to amazing starts in the NL West. One of them, of course, is the Dodgers.
So, and yet baseball can't make any inroads in the daily conversation. Now, I don't know if that affects the sport at all. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, you follow your team, when they're playing, you sit your butt in front of the TV 6 nights a week, and you watch your team play. And I don't know if it matters whether or not.
I don't think it does. And I think, David, part of it is, if we were just doing a show in one city and we were in Tampa, we'd be talking a lot of Rays. That's what they do on Tampa radio. Baseball has become a very regional sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a national game. It doesn't draw attention on national radio the way it once did.
Now, and you're going to get mad at me, and that's okay. But I've got a theory based on the calendar and the popularity of other sports as to why baseball needs to consider a change. The starting five is next. Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David
Mark
Moulton.
Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has the look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower is so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. That's when David Samson joins us, the first of our quartet of fine guests. Keith Smith talking the association an hour from now. NBA playoffs in a way get underway tonight with the play-in games. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL, 9 days out from the draft. And Seth Everett, a day early. He's going college shopping with his daughter tomorrow. And we don't want to get in the way of that. So we'll talk to Seth in a couple hours. Right now it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
And we'll start with the association because the NBA playoffs in a way get underway tonight with the play-in games involving the 7-8 teams. The winner of the games tonight enter the playoffs as the 7 seed in their respective conference. Atlanta's at Orlando. The Magic are a 5.5-point favorite. Winner of the game will play the Celtics in a best-of-7 in the first round. The loser of the game will host a play-in game on Friday, which will be win and you're in as the 8, lose and you're done. The Western Conference play-in game tonight is Golden State hosting Memphis. The Warriors a 7.5-point favorite. Memphis did win 48 games, and they're getting 7.5. If Golden State or Memphis wins, they will enter the Western Conference playoffs as the 7th seed, ready to face Houston in a best-of-7 in the first round. The loser then will host a play-in game on Friday to potentially enter the playoffs as the 8th seed. The play-in games tomorrow in the NBA, the Heat are in Chicago. Tomorrow's games are win just to survive. Tomorrow's games are the 9-10 games. Loser's done. Winner has to go on the road Friday and win to make the playoffs. So if you're a 7 or an 8 seed, you just need to win 1 game to make the playoffs. You're a 9 or a 10 seed, you need to win 2 to get into the full field playoffs. Heat at Bulls tomorrow. Mavs at Sacramento Kings tomorrow. WNBA draft was last night. UConn standout Paige Beckers went number 1 overall as expected to the Dallas Wings. Couple of NBA notes. The Suns fired head coach Mike Budenholzer. That'll be 3 coaches in 3 years for the Suns.
You know, this guy is really screwing my alma mater up. He keeps having to pay all these coaches' salaries. Budenholzer was a 5-year deal, fires him after 1, so he owes him a boatload of money. I mean, this is the power forward. This is the slot receiver. What the hell is going on, Ishbia?
Now, you're acting as if the billionaire has a budget, but yes, he does owe Budenholzer $10 million a year for the next 4 years. And I don't know about you, Mark. If I'm Budenholzer, I'm playing golf. I ain't working. I don't need this. Blank. I won my title with Milwaukee. I got paid twice. I'm done. I am done. The Pelicans fired their general manager, David Griffin, after 6 years. What's interesting is the name rumored to be taken over. Joe Dumars. Remember, Louisiana native, has been working for the NBA for a few years. Obviously, ran the Pistons. A lot of people remember the bad. There was the good. They did go to back-to-back finals and win one of them. You know, I mean, he put a group together that went to, what was it, 6 straight conference finals?
Yep.
I mean,
ended badly, like you said, but there was a damn good run in there for Dumars running the Pistons.
And imagine what that run would have been like if he hadn't taken Darko 2nd overall and had taken either Carmelo, Bosch, or D. Wade. Hockey. Well, the Panthers are going to finish 3rd in the Atlantic. They clinched that by losing at home to the Rangers last night, 5-3. It's the only time all year the Rangers have come from behind when they were trailing by 2 or more goals. But 5-3 Rangers.
The Rangers end up being the fourth ever President's Cup winner from the season before to miss the playoffs the following year. They had the most points in the NHL last year, missed the playoffs this year.
So the Panthers will be on the road to start the NHL playoffs over the weekend. In all likelihood in Tampa, the Maple Leafs have 2 games of which to earn a point. And if they do, they'll clinch the division. So we're all but assured of Tampa Bay and Florida in the first round. And we are assured that Tampa Bay will have home ice in that series. The Canadians with a win last night, any kind of win, overtime win, shootout win, regulation win. All they had to do was get a win against one of the worst teams in the league at home. And they couldn't do it. The Blackhawks came from 2-0 down. And even though Montreal scored late to force overtime, Blackhawks in a shootout won at 4-3. So Les Habitants still need one more point to clinch the final playoff spot in the East. The Blue Jackets are the team that can still mathematically chase them down. For what it's worth, the Wings beat the Stars 6-4. The Kings did guarantee that they will have home ice in the first round series against Edmonton. It'll be the 4th year in a row the Kings and Oilers will meet in the first round. This will be the first time LA has home ice. Kings went into Edmonton and beat the Oilers 5-0. Vancouver over San Jose 2-1 in overtime. The big news with the Sharks, one of their best players, Logan Couture, he has to retire. Although he won't retire because if he does, then he stops getting paid. So they're going to put him on long-term IR for the next 2 years so he can earn his money, but he physically can't play anymore. Probably the 4th best San Jose Shark ever. And I know you guys really needed to know that. Utah over Nashville, 7-3. Baseball. Damn.
Yeah.
The Rays, I think they've been scoring more runs while I was talking. Cameron Meisner with 2 homers. 16-1 over the Red Sox at Steinbrenner Field on the homestand that will never end.
That's their largest margin of victory ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Franchise has been around over 30 years. That's a wow. Mets get a solo homer from Juan Soto. Hold the Twins to 3 hits and a 5-1 win. I'm telling you, Twins have got some issues. This could lead to people getting fired. Okay, I know they're in the middle of an ownership change, but they got a lot of empty seats. I think they announced a little over 10,000 last night. There is no way there were more than 6,000 people in that ballpark, and at least half of them were Mets fans. The Giants are 12-4. They beat the Phillies 10-4, hit 3 homers in the process. Yankees hit 4 solo homers, and not one of them by Judge. Yankees over the Royals 4-1. The Braves double up the Jays 8-4. Have you noticed what the Padres' home record is this year?
Have they lost?
No. And they've played 11 home games already this year. They've only played 6 on the road where they're 3-3. But the San Diego Padres are 11-0 at home. Tatis with 2 homers last night. They whooped up on the Cubs 10-4. Dodgers got homers from Betts and Ohtani. They beat the Rockies 5-3. Hey, the Rockies were just happy to score. They'd been shut out in 3 straight games, and they were shut out going to the 6th last night. So that's a minimum of 33 straight innings that the Rockies hadn't scored in before they finally scored last night.
3-13, the worst record in the game for your Colorado Rockies.
Skubal picking up where he left off. It's just in. He's pretty good. 7 shutout innings, 9 strikeouts. Tigers over the Brewers 9-1. Arenado homered. Brendan Donovan went 4 for 4. Cards 8-3 over the Astros. And Skeens got the win. Interesting little footnote in that game. first time in Major League history that the pitcher was the number 1 overall pick in the draft and the catcher was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Pirates 10-3 over the Nats. We mentioned it earlier in golf. Rory McIlroy's win at Augusta produced the best ratings in a golf tournament in 7 years. Just under 13 million. 12.7 million was the average viewership, and that's for a 5.5-hour window. And it peaked at nearly 20 million viewers between 7 and 7:30. Yikes. NFL, 17 players will attend the draft. 3 of them quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders is not one of them. It'll be Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, and Jalen Milroe. Now that screams the NFL believes there will be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round. 4. We'll see. Shedeur Sanders, one final workout, a private one for the Giants. The Giants were at every single Colorado Buffaloes game last year, home and away. Every single one, whether it be Sanders or Hunter. Now, the thought is Hunter's going to Cleveland, and he won't be on the board for them, but we'll see. Former NFL tight end Don Hasselbeck suffered a heart attack yesterday and died at the age of 70. He was a second-round pick out of Colorado in the mid-70s, played 9 years in the NFL, won a Super Bowl ring with the LA Raiders in 1983. Last Super Bowl win for the Raiders, by the way. And yet many of you, Hasselbeck, yes, father to both Matt and Tim. Don Hasselbeck was 70 years old. And I felt badly, okay, and please don't assume any political affiliation with this, all right? As someone who's had to throw out ceremonial first pitches and do some ceremonial things, I'm telling you, I've never been more nervous in my career than having to do something in public that is ceremonial. And the White House honored the Ohio State Buckeyes yesterday for winning the Natty.
Yes, they did.
And apparently the college football trophy comes apart. They didn't tell J.D. Vance, or if they did, he forgot. And anyway, he picked it up in a way, and basically the trophy became 3 different parts, and it was embarrassing for the vice president. You know, I mean, it's kind of up there with, put an E on the end of tomato, Mr. Quayle. It's not a good look. Feel badly for him, obviously. He was a senator from Ohio. I believe it's his alma mater. Right. And he's fumbling, bumbling, stumbling there. But the Buckeyes honored at the White House. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories, and they need to tell you in advance that the trophy comes apart here on Miller and Moulton.
It does pale in comparison, however, to what was it, Spain winning the World Cup and they dropped it off the bus or whatever it was?
Yes. Yep. Yes. Going through the crowd off the back of the bus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's the all-time trophy. I will say I was lucky enough as a broadcaster in the International Hockey League, the now defunct IHL, to be a part of a team that won a championship, the Atlanta Knights. They were Tampa Bay's AAA affiliate. And they gave us a parade in Atlanta. And the boys, after winning the cup, partied pretty late into the night with the cup.
I'll bet they did. The Turner Cup, right?
The Turner Cup. And they broke the Turner Cup. The top came off The cup sits on the base where all the names are,
Mm-hmm.
and the top came off. They had to have it fixed, and there was a screw right in the middle of the cup to attach it to the base so they could get it to the parade in one piece. I believe it came from tossing it into the pool and someone missed, because the Turner Cup floats. That was the one thing we found out.
Right. Lord Stanley's Cup does not.
No, it does not.
No. In every pool, all right, they wake up the next morning and where's the cup? Where's the cup? And sure enough, that sucker's at the bottom. I think the Penguins pool party is regarded as the best first go around with Mario and the boys. David Samson next.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp, and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, David. I don't see you, but can I hear you?
I hear you.
I hear you perfectly.
You don't see me.
No, your camera is not on. I see a black. I just see all black.
Wow. What? You're right. Camera's not on. How can that be?
Should be on the bottom there. It should be like a start cam button. At least there is on mine. I don't know what your setup is when I bring you in as a guest.
I think something good just happened. Audio. Camera. Why is it not on? Camera. Oh.
Hey, look at that.
Whew. Okay. That was weird. Let me just make sure all the gestures are off.
So do you have any big trips upcoming, David? I travel vicariously through you because all I do is go to gymnastics meets with my daughters these days. My daughter.
I'm going to California tomorrow to have dinner with my daughter and then hike Joshua Tree.
Ah, very cool.
Which should be fun. Can you see me?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to redo every setting this morning, and I'm not sure why. Okay. Hello.
Well, hello.
How are we doing today? Can we do a show just in bad accents because we're so bad at them?
Oh,
Just like
please.
British accents. Hello, mate.
I drive Mark crazy because
Cheers,
I'll do a bad impression and I'll go, oh, I kind of like it. And I'll stay with it for an hour.
It's the worst ever.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
Although I love your bad Brokaw. I love it.
I know, which, he's been retired so long, people don't know who you're doing.
I went to high school with Andrea Brokaw, his daughter.
Oh,
and
okay.
this was back when being a news anchor at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, that was the shit. It was the number one.
Yep.
I can't name the 3 anchors now who do the national news. Lester Holt.
Yeah, I was
who's
gonna say,
retiring?
Is Muir still doing it on ABC?
He is.
Oh, good one. David Muir.
And then what's her face just left on seat Nora O'Donnell. There's done. So
Yeah.
who's on CBS?
Yeah, they have they have co-anchors. Not working.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. Keith Smith in about 35 minutes. Talk a little association after all the NBA playoffs kind of sort of get underway tonight with a couple of play-in games. Pat Kirwan, 1 hour from now, all things NFL. Seth Everett makes his weekly appearance in a little more than 90 minutes. But this is the day and time for David Samson. He of Nothing Personal with David Samson. It's an award-winning podcast. He records it in 59 minutes live, and then it re-airs again at 9 and 10 Eastern on the DraftKings network. Follow David on X at David, the letter P. Sampson, David P. Sampson. Good morning. What is on your mind this morning?
I'm still recovering. It's Tuesday because I did something on Sunday that I said I would never do. And never say never. I watched from the first tee shot of the first hole to the final shot of the first playoff hole. I watched the entire last round of the Masters.
And that's something you normally don't do.
Let me be more clear than that. I've never watched a shot of the Masters. Forget a round. I've never watched a shot. And the reason is that my view is it was boring. I would read about it the next day. When I was in baseball, I had a game, whatever I had, and doing nothing personal. I would cover the business stories of what's going on in Augusta. I would try to become a member of Augusta with a name David Samson, 5'5", white and Jewish. So I did some sort of funny stuff, but I decided, what's all the fuss about? And this must be the perfect year to do it. We have McIlroy, we have Liv, Bryson DeChambeau, PGA Liv. It's going to be a round for the ages. And you know what, gentlemen? It was awesome. And I have no idea. I don't like golf. I've played one time when I went with Jeff Conine on his 50th birthday. He asked me to go with him to Scotland, and I had never played. So I played at Old St. Andrews and a bunch of other courses. And I had to buy golf clubs, and I had to make up you can only play on that course if you've played elsewhere. So they made up a profile for me. They made up as though I'd played 100 rounds of golf, and we got a tee time, and I parred the 18th hole, and I still have the golf ball. True story. Everything I just said is true. And now I'm addicted to the Masters.
I will say,
hold on a second. Hold on. So the very first round of golf you ever played was at St. Andrews?
That is 100% accurate. We played 5 rounds in 4 days, and I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. So I skipped a bunch of holes throughout the course of the time, but I bought like a shirt. I can't remember the name of the courses, but King's Barn could have been one of them, but I may be making that up. And so I got a bunch I would just pick up my ball after 9 shots, whatever I would do at a particular hole, because Conine and the other 2 guys were good golfers. So I wasn't going to hold anyone up. I had some drinks, I had a cigar, various other things that you don't tell your doctor about. And I parred the 18th, which is the one that goes back to the clubhouse where people are waiting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I swear to God, 4 shots, 1, 2, green, putt in. And I said, that's it. I laid my club down as though I was done. And that was it.
How annoyed, because at all of these courses, you don't take carts, you take caddies, or you have a caddy. How annoyed was your caddy with you?
So here's another funny story that I don't think I've ever told. I hit my caddy with the ball. And I tipped him a huge amount of extra money because he was standing 50 yards away, because there's some of the holes where it's over a hill. You don't know where you're going. So he would say, just hit it this way. And I hit it. And in addition, I hit someone else's group on a different hole that was all the way to the left. There's holes that can sometimes be parallel.
Right.
And I hit it into a group, and the caddy spent quite a bit of time apologizing. Now, listen, we were fun. He didn't know who Jeff Conine was or David Samson. And so, in the U.S., there's 15 people who know us, but obviously in Scotland, nobody.
You do know he talks about you to this day. Okay, seriously. No. In which they
question.
go, I'm sorry, I'm not a good golfer. And he goes, oh, trust me. Let me tell you about this guy I looped for one time. Okay. And obviously with a bit of an accent. So, wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that hates you right now, David.
Oh, totally.
I'm an avid golfer. I love the game. I was lucky enough when I was in college to spend 6 weeks doing classes in London, and we traveled on the weekends, went to St. Andrews, and on Sunday, the course is closed. It's a park, and they had like a putt-putt course, and for £1, we played putt-putt. The fact that you never played golf, got to play St. Andrews, there's part of me that hates you right now, but I love the damn story.
I appreciate that. And that is the beauty of Nothing Personal, in that it causes people to both hate and love me at the same time, which I think may be the secret sauce to doing a show, because in my personal life, it doesn't work as well because the hate and love is not 50-50. But I feel like on Nothing Personal, it's more 50-50. But I have the ball still. Obviously, I kept the ball, and I wrote on it the date and the course and the par. And I have it, and I look at it from time to time. But no, for the Marlins, we did a golf tournament, and I would stay on one hole only, and just do a drive for charity against players and against other fans who wanted to golf with us at our Marlins golf tournament. And Stanton and I, or Jose Fernandez and I, would just get hammered and shoot balls and lose purposefully or seriously to people. So no, I'd never played a full round of golf. And we stayed at a house right on the right across the street from the 1st and 18th hole, like an Airbnb. And we had the best time, except for me, the hours a day. It takes like 5 hours to golf.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it to be ridiculous. But now I'm a converted golf watcher only because the whole PGA Live and all the drama. And then Justin Rose out of nowhere, him warming up thinking he's got a shot. And then Rory's going to win it on the 18th with what should be an easy miniature golf thing when you're going for your career Grand Slam. And he total sphinctered it up. And then he rebounded to win it on the first playoff hole. Meanwhile, I was holding up my entire family's Seder. It was the first night of Passover. And I'm saying, hold on, it's not over yet. I don't know if you guys know this, but Sunday night was Passover, the second Seder. And so I'm sitting with my sisters saying, I can't start. And they're like, it's time. We called it for 6:30. And I said, I'm sorry, we got to finish watching this. And they thought that I was crazy. All of that just happened in the last 2 days.
By the way, what was that phrase that you used there about Rory on the 18th? What did he do again?
He sphinctered up. Is there any
Okay.
other way to say it? Am I
Just-
allowed to
there
say
is
that?
not.
Just
Yes,
well,
you're allowed to say that.
well, listen, you're getting us technically in trouble because it's on our show. Okay, so you're testing it out on our show. We'll let you know if we're contacted by the FCC authorities before your show.
This is a serious question. That putt that he missed on 18 to be Grand Slam for $4.2 million, does he make that? I was trying to do the calculation because the best hitter in baseball is going to get a hit 32% of the time. And that's if someone's just outrageous. Does he make that 99% of the time?
No,
But
no.
90% of the time,
right?
85. I
Yeah,
mean, he's going to make 9 or 10 of those, David. The fact that it didn't even hit the hole. It didn't touch the hole.
No, it was a bad stroke.
It was a
Right.
terrible putt. And if you watch the whole thing, the putt on 15 when he made the brilliant iron shot to 4 feet, that was also a terrible putt. Terrible.
So I was thinking about odds, and I was thinking about the pressure, and what I equated it to, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, you're a tie game, and you're on the free throw line. You're a 90% free throw shooter. To me, that ball's going in. You're going to win the title. You're going to win the game. It doesn't even occur to me that Steph Curry was my example in my head. He's not going to miss a free throw to win Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And then Rory just did it. And then won in overtime. I kept thinking about it in other sports because baseball you can't equate it to because it's so hard to get a hit or get on base.
Did you find? I can't believe this was your first Masters. The music, okay, the fact that they spoke in a certain tone and they spoke with reverence towards the course and the tournament's history. As somebody who had never soaked any of this up before, did you find it disgusting or were you enthralled by it?
So it felt cultish and religious to me is the best way to describe it. Because remember, I had heard about all of this stuff.
Right.
I obviously have talked to people about Augusta. Jeff Conine, his dream is to play at Augusta. So I knew sort of it, but I also knew sort of the bad stuff about Augusta. So, but it seemed to me, and I've read about the merchandise and all the money they do and the pricing of concessions. So it's not that I'd never heard of the Masters. I want to be clear about that. But I found, listen, Jim Nantz, the voice, the music, the pressure, I thought that it was, that's my answer. It was cult-like to me.
I think that's reasonably accurate. And I'm a member of the cult. And all I will tell you, and I know you don't work in a front office anymore, you've had, and probably never will. I think anybody, and it's hard to get a ticket. So if you get one, I'll be happy to go with you and show you. But I think anybody who runs a team, a business at some point should go there. Because as I tell everybody, Disney World's thought of as a pretty clean place and great customer service. Disney World's a -10 compared to the customer service at Augusta National. I've never seen anything like it, from concessions, not just the price of them, how they run them, how efficient they are, that there's no garbage anywhere. I think anybody who's ever run a team, you'd be blown away by just the way the tournament is run, if you know what I mean.
But how would I apply that to a ballpark where it's a 1 weekend a year situation? They build for it all year long. I think they curb the number of spectators where it's what 50,000 or 75 or 100,000 people can go through during the 4 days. And I went to Japan where there's millions of people. There's not one bit of garbage in Tokyo. So there's a way to do it, but I don't know how I would apply that lesson. I did go to visit other ballparks all the time and other arenas all the time, but it wouldn't have even, I love this, Mark, it wouldn't have occurred to me to go to the Masters to try to take best practices back to, Olympic Stadium.
He's David Samson. Nothing Personal with David Samson is his award-winning podcast. He will record it in 47 minutes live, and then it will re-air at 9 a.m. and then again at 10 a.m. on the DraftKings Network. Follow David on X at David, the letter P, Samson. We have a lot of people, and I know our time is up. We have a lot of people who really like you and love your stories, but they're golfers. And they can't believe that, A, your first round of golf ever, and apparently your only round of golf, was at St. Andrews, and that this was your first Masters. They literally think you're living in an alternate universe.
I'm just telling you that is an absolutely true story, and I ended up playing the other rounds and enjoyed it.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, tadalafil, and Viagra, sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American-made, at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You could save that for best of.
Oh, already wrote it down.
Yeah.
I've got my list in front of me, David, that literally after this, I mean, I've got 5 right now. We need 12.
Holy smackers.
But I've got 2 O's, I've got 2 21s, and 138 on the list right now.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. David Samson just joined us. If you missed it, you'll want to go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. It was entertaining. It was interesting. It was shocking. It was funny. All at once. Keith Smith joins us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. We'll talk a little association with the play-in games getting underway tonight in the NBA. Pat Kirwan in 40 minutes to talk all things NFL. Seth Everett normally makes his weekly appearance on Wednesdays, needs to do it today. We will accommodate our friend in about an hour and 15 minutes. But, Mark, speaking of the NFL, some early news. Is this the red Kirwan graphic at the bottom? Is this orange? Is this yellow? What color is this story?
I guess it probably depends on where you are, but I would think that, this is an NFL Network red. In fact, it's a 4-letter network red because they have nothing else to break as far as news right now. So it depends on timing and the fact that we're this close to the draft, the fact that it's a pretty damn good player. I think, it's listed by the person who sent out the post as developing. So I will go with what Ian Rappaport has dubbed it as developing news. And he is reporting that the Dolphins and 7-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he played elsewhere in 2025. Ramsey is due $25.1 fully guaranteed this season. The Dolphins have already paid him a $4 million roster bonus, so anybody trading for Ramsey would be assuming $21.1 million in salary.
Why would they trade him? No, seriously. Why? Do they need the money? I mean, first off, if they needed the money, shouldn't they have addressed this 6 weeks ago when free agency was getting underway and it's money that could have been spent to acquire needs, of which they have many? Secondly, they actually need another corner. They're going to trade away their best? No, seriously, help me out here. Why? We all know if they trade Tyreek Hill, why it is they're doing that. 31 years old, coming off a bad season. He's an locker room and off the field issue guy. And they think that they're on the downside. Why are they trading Jalen Ramsey?
Well, the only thing about this report that I would question from Ian Rappaport, and I'm not because I'm going to take him at what he said, but it says that Ramsey and the Dolphins are mutually set to explore trade options. Sounds to me like Ramsey came in and said, I don't want to play for you anymore. I want out.
Okay. And that's where they say, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. We need you. And you wanted out of your last place, and we got you out of there. You wanted to get paid, and we paid you. And once again, it's my favorite line, but I'm going to use it. Shut up and cash the checks. I thought this was a make or break year for the organization. I thought this is the year that determines whether the coach and GM get long-term extensions or whether or not they get blown out of the water. And I know McDaniel got an extension, but we all know if they don't have a good year this year, he's getting canned. How are they a better team if they get rid of Jalen Ramsey?
They're not.
April. Also, not getting rid of Jalen Ramsey in early March so that they then could hit free agency and get a couple guys.
And if they're going to move him, wouldn't you think they would do it between now and Thursday? I understand your point, but if you're going to move him, don't you have to move him before the draft?
Yeah, right. A week from Thursday. So you got 9 days. Yeah. Totally. But once again, I go back to just, make me a Doll fan for a second. What are we doing here? Why is it we have to trade him? First off, can't you hold on to him and see how the season starts out? I mean, you can trade him 6-8 weeks into the season. You get off to a 2-4 start. You want to trade him? Trade him. Could you get more for him now? Yeah. But I thought this year was important.
And David, this is the part that I have the biggest question about. Because this looks like, now that Armstead's retired and the issues that you've pointed out with all of the holes in this roster, are they starting a rebuild right now? And as you've mentioned and we've talked about, Stephen Ross is 85 years old.
Yeah.
Not really when you want to start doing a rebuild.
No. Not only that, yes, last year did not go well. They had 4 consecutive winning seasons before last year. They'd made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. They thought they were onto something here. Yeah, last year didn't go well, but I thought we put as much of the band back together as possible and we take another crack at it, right, boys? I mean, that's what they were telling us. I mean, you and I don't believe it. We think they've gotten a lot worse. We think they are sliding towards the bottom in that division. But help me out here. They're going to lose Teron Armstead, Calais Campbell, and Jalen Ramsey from that room? Seriously? I mean, this...
Mike McDaniel, you might as well call the realtor now.
Yeah.
I mean, you really might as well get that house up for sale and try to get your maximum potential out of that home because you're done.
What's their
no
over
way
under?
They're keeping your ass.
What's their over under? Because I want to go under right now.
Today. Right.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, David.
I want to go under. I'm guessing they're over under 7.5. I want to go under hard.
And I'm right there with you.
By the way, if you're the Detroit Lions, I mean, don't you have to call Miami?
Yes.
I mean, you're all in to win a Super Bowl.
Miami's over under right now on the Hard Rock app is 8.5.
Oh my goodness. Can we take out a loan and go under? How much will they let us bet? Seriously.
I just put everything that was in our account on it.
I want to put so much money on it. I want to move the number ourselves. That's how much money I want to put on this. But
now the division's going to be bad. New England's going to be better, but not much better. The Jets are going to be bad. I mean, you might as well bet Buffalo to win the division now before they catch up on the odds.
Could somebody please answer me? Why do they want to trade him? So, yeah, he looks around. He doesn't think we're a championship caliber team anymore. He wants to go somewhere else. I get it. I don't know what to tell you. You don't have to agree with him. Certainly not now. Sorry, Jalen, we need you. You're our lockdown corner. Hell, we need another one of you. I'll make you a deal. We get off to a bad start, I'll trade you wherever you want to go. I mean,
this screams rebuild, and we did not see, while we think they should, we believe they're ready to. We didn't think they thought they were ready to.
I mean, why didn't you do this 5 weeks ago? Take the money and use it on offensive linemen that were available. Keith Smith and the association next.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, I'm afraid our phones aren't working.
Oh, great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at that point in time. We'll certainly talk about this Jalen Ramsey story. And just joining us, Ian Rappaport, reporting that Ramsey and the Dolphins are negotiating his exit from the Dolphins. I came out of nowhere. Pat Kirwan, the draft 9 days away, to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Seth Everett in about an hour's time. Pat, Seth, and all our guests join us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. The NBA playoffs sort of get underway tonight with the play-in games. Do we like the idea of this, by the way? They've done it now for a little while. Teams have gone from the play-in to the NBA Finals. So, this is kind of like the play-in in the NCAA tournament. Teams have gone from the play-in to the Final Four. But do we like this? It's the 7-8 games tonight. Atlanta at Orlando. Winner enters the Eastern Conference playoffs as the 7 seed. Orlando a 5.5-point favorite. TNT gets the double dip tonight, by the way. ESPN gets the play-in games tomorrow night. The Western Conference game is Memphis at Golden State. A couple of teams that both won 48 games. Hell, that would make them the 5 seeds in the East. Instead, they're the 7-8 in the West. Golden State, a robust 7.5-point favorite over Memphis. Winner enters the Western Conference playoffs as the 7 seed, and they'll face Houston in a first-round best of 7. By the way, the losers tonight host games on Friday that are win and you're in, lose and you're done. So the 7-8 seeds have 2 chances to win 1 game to make the playoffs. The 9-10 seeds, they have to win 2 games back-to-back to play their way into the playoffs. So we've had a few years of this, Mark. Do you like it?
Oh, boy, do I like it. I think it's good for the league. I do. I think putting a few extra teams in the playoffs is not a bad thing. I haven't watched a whole hell of a lot of them. I mean, they don't interest me where I got to stop. Put it this way, I watch more of the NCAA play-in games in Dayton than I do of the play-in tournament in the NBA.
Was it 2 years ago that the Heat lost a 7-8 play-in game and were losing with 5 minutes to go in the ultimate play-in game and rallied
Bulls, right?
Yeah, and rallied to win and made it all the way to the NBA Finals before losing to Denver. So it seems like, I don't know, these teams don't have much of a shot. We're just kind of wasting our time, blah, blah, blah. Well, one team got to the finals from having to play a game or 2 this week. So, but it is interesting. The NBA tried it. Put it this way, Mark. Our beloved hockey, they're talking about expansion, going to 34 or 36 teams. Now, eventually they have to get to a 16-team playoff system. But my guess is if they expand the number of teams, they may toy around with the idea of a play-in week.
I think that they will when they expand. I don't think that there's any doubt. And the NHL seems hell-bent on expansion for reasons I can't comprehend.
Besides the big obvious one.
Yeah, money. But
right. I'm with you.
It's not like they are a big TV product.
Right.
And that's why you do this. So it's coming to the NHL. It's here to stay in the NBA. I don't think we'll see it anywhere else. Like, I don't think Major League Baseball will have a play-in game. I think they're set with what they're doing.
Miller and Moulton. We had David Samson on at the top of this hour. You'll want to download that interview when it's posted in about 15 minutes' time. Wow. David Samson, A, had never watched the Masters before, and also B, find out where he played his first ever round of golf. Keith Smith is kind enough to join us. He covers the NBA for a living. He's part of Spot Rack and YouTube's Front Office Show. You can follow Keith on X at Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. Keith, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, first off, and I know you make your living covering the league, but let me just talk to you as a fan before we talk to Keith Smith, media member. Is this play-in thing working for you?
Parts of it are. I like the NCAA tournament feel of it, where it's like single elimination feel. I know it's kind of pseudo single elimination. But then when we get into games where teams were several games under 500, that part feels a little bit off. I do feel like there should be either a games back component or so many games under 500. I realize that's never going to happen because they've sold this as part of the media rights deal as a big thing. But it does feel a little bit off with that. But like Warriors-Grizzlies, I think is going to be a really fun game tonight. And I think that was the intention of the play-in tournament, was make sure we give teams like that a real chance to do something fun.
All right, if I take the Celtics off the board, because I believe they're the favorite to win the whole thing, who would you put our $20 on to win it if you couldn't bet on the Celtics right now?
Oklahoma City. I know there's this feeling of they have to prove it, and I get that. I understand that's how it works in the NBA, but they're good. They can play a lot of different ways. Stylistically, they've got a lot of depth. They just are a very good team. I mean, when you look at everything in their profile suggests they should win the title. And if they don't, it's going to be a major disappointment. 68 wins, an NBA record as 12.9, scoring differential, like just, an incredible team. So that's who I would put it on. I also think we're making a lot out of, oh my gosh, the West is going to be such a bloodbath and it's going to be impossible to get through the Western Conference. And I think that is true. But I think Oklahoma City has so far lapped that conference that I'd be shocked if they don't make the finals at least.
I have to admit, along those lines, Keith, I would love for Golden State to lose tonight and then win and enter as the 8th seed, because then potentially Oklahoma City's road is Golden State and then the winner of Denver and the Clippers. And I think either one, gives different problems. And then this way, to me, if they make it to the conference finals going through, in theory, the last two of the last three champions, possibly in Golden State and Denver, then to me, they'll already be tested halfway through the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that would be something else. And that Warriors team would really make them have to work for it. And then you're getting a Warriors team, and like you said, potentially a Nuggets team, that not only are they good teams, but like they've been there, done that. So it's like those are the teams historically that there's always like the team in front of you that you kind of have to climb and finally beat. Big for the Thunder by the time you get to the conference finals, almost no matter who it is. I think I would struggle for anybody to say they're untested. Unfortunately, I think the Warriors at home are probably going to get the Grizzlies, and we're not going to get that path. But that'll give us Warriors, Rockets in the first round. And I think if we get that, you're going to see maybe a record set for the number of people who pick a 7 to beat a 2 in a series.
The Clippers come into the playoffs as one of the hottest teams in the league. They're going to play Denver, who fired their coach with 3 games left in the season. I know they've won 3, but this is interesting because obviously Denver was reeling coming down the stretch, so much so that they fired their head coach. The Clippers are red hot. When you look at this series, Did Denver do the right thing first off in firing Malone, and can they recover from that big change? I know they won 3 in a row, but now it's the playoffs.
Yeah, starting with the Nuggets part of it, did they do the right thing? It's really tough. I mean, I am a big believer in, if you believe the coach has lost the locker room, then why not make the change? Because what are you going to lose necessarily? It's very strange to make this move, this late when we already thought it was strange. The Grizzlies made a move like this only a week or so before. But it's just hard. I mean, he had such organizational cachet, but it sounds like they were very committed. Like, we need to make changes. This is all toxic. It's time to get some new voice in charge there in Denver, and that's the way they're moving forward. As far as the Clippers go, that's probably one of the most fun series we get in the first round, because I think it's going to be really tightly contested. The big question will be, you could tell me by the time we get to the end of this series, Kawhi Leonard is still healthy. I think I would say, all right, I'm probably going to lean towards the Clippers. I think they're good. I think they defend. They have pretty good offensive players, and I think they have a chance. But that's the question mark. Are we going to wake up on the morning of Game 2 or Game 3 and it's Kawhi Leonard's questionable with knee soreness? We all kind of know, well, that means he's probably out. And, where are we going to go the rest of this series? That's the ultimate wild card for LA.
I think out west we could see, and we're talking the NBA, the playoffs, in a sense, get underway tonight with the play-in games with Keith Smith. Follow Keith on X at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, we could see all sorts of scenarios happening in the West. It would be very surprising. It would be very surprising if it's not Boston, Cleveland in the East. I mean, very surprising. Is there any team that you think has any shot against either one of those two teams?
The one that kind of interests me the most is if we were to see New York and Cleveland in the second round, and if Cleveland did not play great down the stretch of the season. Now, part of that was they kind of had everything clinched. They were really just in run and hide mode. They also, though, Donovan Mitchell was dealing with some real injury stuff down the stretch of the season. And I think even though New York has been horrendous against good teams this year, they haven't beaten the Celtics, Cavs, or Thunder all season. I think we're in a spot where they do some stuff that I think could really stress Cleveland, the way they can play 5 out, the way they can space the floor. Cavs do have guys you can attack on the defensive end. So I think that would be a really interesting matchup. But I'm with you. Barring an injury for Boston or Cleveland that really impacts them going into a series, I struggle to see any of the East teams beating them other than the other team.
Do you give the Pistons any shot at the Knicks? They've played them tough this year, and it seems to be a matchup that's not great for the Knicks. I know they're better, but is there an upset you see in the first round in the East?
I think if the Knicks can play their game and not get caught up, the Pistons are trying to bring back the bad boys of the 80s and 90s. They are, going out there getting physical. I think that if you could get betting odds on which series is going to have multiple ejections for fighting, I think that's probably the one, because I think, Detroit's going in there. I just don't know how they're going to score enough points to keep up with the Knicks. I think that it puts an awful lot of pressure on Cade Cunningham. I know Malik Beasley's going to be there and do some scoring. I just don't know. Is Tobias Harris going to show up? Is Dennis Schroeder going to be good enough? Is Tim Hardaway Jr. going to do their thing? That's my one worry for the Pistons is are they going to be able to score enough? It sounds weird to say that against the Tom Thibodeau team, but this Knicks team is built around offense. They're not a good defensive team, so it's going to be an interesting, fun matchup. But I don't know. One of my favorite stats, just from an interesting standpoint, the Pistons have not won a single playoff game. Never mind a series, a single playoff game since 2008. So I do think they break that, but I don't think they're going to beat the Knicks.
Keith Smith, Spot Rack, and YouTube's Front Office Show. Follow Keith on X at Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. Keith, stay well. Hopefully we can talk later on in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Keith Smith. kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. TNT doubleheader night tonight. 7-8 play-in games. Orlando hosting Atlanta is a 5.5-point favorite. Golden State hosting Memphis is a 7.5-point favorite. It is interesting. The 7-8 teams in the East have 40 and 41 wins. The 7-8 teams in the West each have 48 wins.
Yeah, let's just fast forward this to the Eastern Conference Finals so I can watch Cleveland play Boston. I'll catch a little Knicks Pistons. I will.
Sure.
But there's not much there in the East until we get to the conference finals that I'm interested in.
You're going to try to half close your eyes and envision that's Isaiah and Bernard King? I mean, do you want to go back? How far back are you going to go here?
That was a painful series for me. I mean, I had Pistons fever then, and Bernard King was unstoppable, David.
That was a great series, though. Those two were amazing. Pat Kirwan to talk NFL next.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning.
Morning, Pat.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. You know, I had to laugh. I watched the Masters all damn weekend, but Friday I was driving over to Lauderdale with the family for my daughter's event, and I almost switched over to the mock draft. I almost re-listened to your show because I wanted to hear how the mock went on Friday.
Well, it's always good when it's 2 rounds and we're two picks at a time. Changes the whole context of the deal. And it's just, we both try to know for sure the needs. Jim loves to draft for need no matter what. and I won't do it. But I tell them beforehand, you're not going to like all my picks because I'm not drafting for need. I have my group listed 1 to 60. When my turn comes, I'll be able to go within 4 or 5 spots of where I'm at, but I'm not going any deeper than that to find somebody you want me to take. I said I did that. That's why I'm on a radio show.
And then I laughed my tail off. I'm sitting there Saturday night watching whatever, and I'm on X, and I'm just kind of farting around on X, and I see Newbie scored, and I just started laughing.
Yeah. Well, I sent you the note. He had a full game. He won 4. First off, he's a terrific face-off guy. He drops his shoulder in on the other guy facing off, and the guy has no chance. He's so big. And he won 4 in a row. I don't know why they don't use him more, except, he had to be on the ice more.
Right.
But he had a great assist in the second period. And, he doesn't usually have the ability. He also took 4 shots on the goal, which he never did.
Wait a minute. He had a Gordie Howe hat trick. He had a goal, assist, and a fight all in the same game?
Yes.
Oh.
The fight's a given. And the other 2 are hard to find. And I think he doesn't want to get cut.
That's why I was like, I can't believe Childress didn't go. He's going to be so pissed. He missed his guy.
He missed, and my brother as well. Those guys. It was Saturday night. We ended up taking some grandkids with me, so it was terrific.
Okay, that's what I figured.
How you doing, David?
I'm okay. How are you?
I saw your foot pop up in the air.
Yeah. Sometimes I need a little momentum to get up.
Yeah, the kickstart, as we like to call it.
So they're waiting for you at 10 a.m.
Yep, I'm going over there. I'll be asking for her.
And bring your phone, because I guess the tickets will all be on an app on your phone.
They're going to have to put the app on it and all that stuff. But this is just like concerts. Whenever I go to concerts up at Saratoga, it's all the same way. But
my only thing is if there's a game or two that you can't make, okay, how do you, they'll have to show you.
Yeah, like I transferred concert tickets to my brother if he's not driving up when we drive up, that kind of thing. I get that. I hope I figured it out. But I also have to buy some extra ones. And I forgot. I didn't know that they'd start at home in the playoffs. And I figured they'd be on the road, but now they're starting at home on Friday, and it's the overlap day where I have 2 families. So when I go in there, I'm going to say, okay, now sell me for it in my row so I can supervise 6 grandkids.
Oh boy,
yeah, and all of them love going to these games. So I'll get one father at one end, the other father at the other one, and preferably I'll sit behind them and make sure they're not losing their minds. All they want to do is be on TV with Swampy.
I haven't seen what the first round schedule is, but you may get lucky and they may be on the road for the draft.
Yeah, that would be great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this Tuesday, and 8 a.m. in the East means Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat's appearances are always brought to us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Hey, help me out here.
Yes.
The story in the last hour. Why would the Dolphins want to get rid of Jalen Ramsey now?
Because he's a pain.
Yeah, but he was a pain then a month ago, and they could have used that money to shore up the offensive and defensive lines. I thought this was the make or break season for the GM and the head coach.
Well, he hasn't been traded yet, number one. Number two, we're 10 days away from the draft, and there's 9 million stories that are going to get out there in the next couple of days. He happens to be one of them. The Aiden O'Connell story, not as significant out there. Derek Carr maybe can't play. That's out there already. Dak Prescott's hamstring's not cured yet. Okay. Aaron Rodgers still. So there's a lot out there, and there's going to be a lot more. And he's just one of them. I don't know. I know you guys a long time, but I don't know that you ever put for sale sign on your lawn with no intention to sell it unless someone does something ridiculous. So I think it's just find out and he's a pain. And you know what? Sometimes when you deal with a guy who complains or is a whiner like that, you find out nobody wants him for the price, and then he has to shut up and play.
But Pat, he wasn't a pain last year. Okay, him and Vic didn't get along well.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was not a pain last year. Okay, and he's still a very good player.
Okay.
And
now you the GM. What are you going to give me for him? You called me.
Well, that's just it. You tell me. Okay, it's mid-April. What can you get for Jalen Ramsey, whose price tag for the rest of this year is 21?
Well, the first thing is who in the first round, because that's what we're talking about compensation-wise. Who in the first round needs a corner? Absolutely has to get out of this draft with a corner. Oh, that's right. The Green Bay Packers. They're trying to get rid of Alexander, and they will get rid of Alexander. So who is going to be on top of this? And I found it kind of interesting. You're asking me, so I'll give you my thoughts. As soon as Will Johnson wouldn't run a 40-yard dash, and he had a slow, short shuttle, and the nervousness that he might be a 4.6 guy, I wonder how that ties into all of a sudden Jalen Ramsey, we're looking to trade him. If I can get a first rounder from the Green Bay Packers, let me ask you, would you do that?
Yes,
Me too.
I would. But Pat, isn't that screaming? And this, I think's the bigger question. Ramsey's part of a bigger question to me. We have an 85-year-old owner. We have a GM and a coach who we thought were coming into really important years. And this trade, after losing Campbell and after Armstead retiring, looks as if Miami's set for a rebuild, Pat.
Well, they might be, number one. Number two, I don't know these guys well enough to know how they might use this as their excuse. And maybe the owner's on board with doing it. So sometimes what looks like the worst decision you'd ever make, it might be buying them time, number one. Number two, if you got a decent first-round pick like Green Bay's, which I don't think you will, but if you did, remember, they've always taken one elite player. That's their style of free agency. Maybe then you can actually go get a young corner and start playing with guys, and they probably have a ton of regrets about what they did to their coordinator by listening to these guys. He goes out and wins the Super Bowl. So would I do it? No. We'd play with the guy. But I get why some guys would do it, and I get why they think they would do it if the price was right.
Well, you don't think they can get a first rounder? Because to me, if I can't get a first rounder, there's no way in blank I am trading Jalen Ramsey now. I mean, I got to get him. To me, Green Bay and Detroit, which one of you guys want him?
Well, you'd love that both of them wanted because they don't want to play against him either and all that stuff. Let me say this. I'm not as excited about Jalen Ramsey, the player, anymore. I just see too many times guys getting behind him. Reputation goes so far. If you study the tape, you probably don't think he's what he was. And I tend to want to do that every time I assume a guy's still great. Oh, let me go watch him for a while. Let me call some guys that played against him. But I don't think guys are afraid to throw at him. I can say that.
Let's just say you're right. Here's my thinking, and I could be dead wrong. Why don't I hold on to him? We start the year. If we start 2-4, I can get a third rounder for him in mid-October.
But that's a draft pick for the next staff.
Yeah, I understand. But if I'm only going to get a second rounder this year, shouldn't I at least hold on to him and try to win games?
Well, I think that's the prerequisite for initiating the trade. The way they worded it, what did they say? We're going to explore a trade. So what does that mean to me? It means that if we can't get a first, we're not trading you. Of course, he'll think he's worth a first. And his agent's going to think he can get you a first. And if he can't, we'll play him. But I think it's just fishing. I mean, Mark and I are fishermen. There are spots we don't stop at anymore because we don't think there's any fish. But on the way in from a day of not catching anything, Mark and I would probably, you know what? Let's stop once.
Let's give
just to see.
All right, let's stay at that position, but go to the draft. You mentioned his name, Will Johnson, not running the 40. He was injured. What did he play? 4 games last year. Now he's not running a 40. You brought up a shuttle time that wasn't very good. I'm nervous if I'm a team looking for a corner. Here's a guy that by most people is a top 20 player in this draft. He's a first-round pick. How nervous would you be drafting Will Johnson?
Well, I spent a lot of years with Gil Brandt. Gil Brandt would never take a speed position player, that's wide receiver corner. He would never take one that didn't run a 40. And he goes, you know what? You might be right. He might be good, but I'm not doing it. If you don't test, I don't take. And I think if you're trying to stay in this business as long as Gil did, it's pretty good advice. I would pass on him. And I love the kid. I had spent time with him. He's really mature. He's a savvy player. He understands he can play man or zone. But if I don't know he can run, and I see that 4-3-3 short shuttle. Remember this. I'll tell this to your listeners. When you run 4-3-3 in the short shuttle, what's acceptable is under 0.5 north of that in the 40. He could easily be a 4-6 guy. So I'll ask you, Mark. He runs a 40 and he runs 4.62. Are you taking him in the first round as a corner?
No. That's what I'm wondering. And, you know, here, and I kind of put this back with Miami because they've been linked to D-backs and throughout this draft. And it's like, if he slips at all, I worry about the team that takes Will Johnson right now.
Me too. So I try to teach the listeners about correlating the short shuttle to the 40. If you run a slow 40, 4.6, but if you run 4 flat in the short shuttle, that's better than 0.5. That tells me you're quick and you can get in and out of breaks. But if you run 4.33 in the short shuttle, and I don't have a 40 time, I cannot presume that you're going to run 4.4.
Don't you think, though, that his testing right now just screams he's not better than 80%? Because that's what it does to me. I mean, this was a guy who, before he got hurt, was regarded as one of the top 10 talents that was going to be in this draft. I mean, I know this is very old school, but I got a little bit of a Keith Byers feel here. I don't know what I'm going to get from him in 2025. He may need a good chunk of this year to get right, but Buddy Ryan had the guts to take Keith Byers and sit him a year, and look what he turned into. I kind of feel that's Will Johnson this year. I don't know how right he's going to be until at least training camp or once the season starts.
I think that I'm not opposed to doing those kind of things. The running back that went to Buffalo, same thing. But the profile of not every team can do that now. Where can he go when the doctors say he might be out till November? I'll be kind, not even a full season. He's got to go to a place that has a 32-year-old corner that they're going to dump next year because of contract, and you don't mind waiting. But the teams up top that are the bad teams, they may not be able to do that. And so you start asking yourself, well, it's funny. We actually dropped in our little mock draft. The first week, that guy went way up there. And then he not really fell down. He was in the top 10, both mock drafts. Last week, he fell all the way down to 18 in Seattle. So I think you have to you can't take a first-round pick that can't play unless you're backing up a guy that you're getting rid of next year. Now, let's go back to Jalen Ramsey. If you decided we're getting rid of Ramsey next year, we can't get rid of him now because no one's giving us a first, I might take a corner in that place and be ready for the overlap. And now my guy's going to walk right into his job next year. We see smart teams do that all the time. The question in Miami, one more time, is how desperate can you be? Can you actually draft scared that you're getting fired? Because if you are, you're going to make some mistake. You're going to take short-term answers. A good owner or a good GM is going to say, no. We have to think about the long term of this thing. So in Johnson's case, excuse me, I would think, yeah, there's a profile of a team. Now, maybe that's Green Bay, by the way. They're going to deal with Alexander for a year, which I don't think they want to do, but and then move him right out of here, and it's Will's job. And that might work. But if you need a starting corner this season, I'd be real nervous about taking a guy that didn't run a 40.
It's going to be fascinating because obviously he is a top 10 talent, but he has played himself out of that with not running in the 40 in any of these. Now, Shedeur Sanders is making a last workout. We've got about 20 seconds here. We'll probably get to it on the other side, Pat. But Sanders how much are the Giants still unsure at this point, or is this just confusion within their room of Sanders?
I don't think there's a lot of confusion. I mean, tomorrow's the last day you can work a guy out. So they're bringing him in. I don't think it might be to see if someone else wants him. Try to sell the idea that we might take him. Who wants to move up for him? I'd be very surprised if they drafted him.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekdays 3 to 7. Our remaining moments with Pat on the other side, courtesy of Pinchers. Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I was thinking of you last night, Pat. I was watching the wife and daughter, and I convinced my daughter to have a little family time, and I started watching that NBC Peacock show, The Americas.
Oh, yeah.
And they were there's part of it in Chesapeake Bay where they're showing the eagle having trouble getting the fish and the osprey just hammering one after another until the eagle comes and attacks the osprey for the fish.
Yep. That was the one I witnessed on the golf course.
I know. That's what I was
tell them?
I'm like, this happens all the time.
Yep. And what I love most was when it got to be a problem, the osprey called for help, and the mama came out of the nest too, and they got that damn fish back. Yeah, those ospreys.
I wouldn't. Someone's going to get busted on Campbell. I'm worried about him.
Will Campbell?
Yeah,
because there's other Campbells, I think.
Yeah, I just think. Yeah, I just. I don't know. You only play 4 games your last year. It's a long recovery if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, the whole stuff that's out there today will be 2 or 3 more. And and then there's going to be guys failing the drug tests. I mean, they always do right before the draft. Then we're going to hear about the guy who didn't do a very good job at the medical recheck. That happens all the time. It's kind of amazing how stuff gets floated around, but it always happens. Micah Parsons. I felt bad about Don Hasselbeck dying. God darn it.
Yeah, young.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
$70 years old, man. That's young.
Yep. Oh, tomorrow's the portal. You can switch gears. You'll have it. This is like the start of free agency tomorrow.
Well, I'm just curious to see if UCLA or Colorado, and I've not seen much. I've seen UCLA and that Tennessee quarterback. That I hope he doesn't get paid. But someone will.
Oh yeah, he will get paid. I thought it was interesting that Eastern Michigan gave Crosby the assistant thing so he can look at players and stuff. I like that for him. Well, Jim Nagy, tomorrow's hunting season.
Yep.
I talked to the new guy yesterday who's running the Senior Bowl. He's been around for a long time. He was a scout for like 25 years.
Yeah, I did. I heard that you had him on. I didn't listen much yesterday. I got you early.
Yeah, that's okay. Devin Fabinich. Drew Fabinich. Good guy. Serious. I said to him afterwards that you need a sense of humor with this job. The NFL Network doesn't want this thing in Mobile. You're going to have a smile on your face. Yeah. So yesterday, guys were going, they can't afford Parsons. I said, yeah, they can. It's a $40 million signing bonus on a 5-year deal. Do the math. It's $8 million a year on the cap, and give him a $2 million salary. That's a $10 million cap hit versus the $24 million cap hit he has now. In 2 years, it'll be a disaster. But by then, they might be done with Prescott.
Right.
And by then, they may also be negotiating a new TV deal, and the cap may go to 400.
Yeah. For everybody.
Yes.
Not just for them. So that reminds me of the first year of free agency that we ever had. Remember that 99% of your contracts were written before free agency. And all of a sudden you're going, wait a second. Thank God they're all unguaranteed. It was amazing. And when I was first doing this, no one had guaranteed money in their contracts. Not a dime.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. Weekdays 3 to 7. He's headed to Green Bay next week for the draft. Pat's weekly appearances brought to you by Pinchers. Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. How does the NFL get their info to know who they're going to invite to the draft? Because now Sanders isn't going to be in Green Bay, but Dart and Milroe are. And we know they don't want to humiliate the guys. They want those guys taken in the first round. So how do they go get that information?
Well, for starters, they do like a certain number of guys. And if they get turned down, which I've asked a lot of players that told me, oh, I'm not going. I'm going to be home. And the agents want to get paid now for the players to go there. And the NFL's not doing that. And then there's a limited number of family members you can bring. So you get turned down. And as you get turned down, you start going down the list. Every year I've been there, there's been guys left over. It's not like it doesn't happen. It happens every year. Some guys overreact and leave in the middle of the night and don't come back for the second day. I get that. But I think guys like Milroe and them have been told you might be a second rounder. And to your point about how they get their information, there are people that will tell them, we're looking very closely at taking him, maybe at the bottom of the first round. So they get enough of a positive that it might happen. But honestly, when Gil ran that whole program before he passed away, he told the guys, you're on the bubble for the first round. You might be a second rounder. We'd still want you to be here. And guys would say yes. And most of them, I've always said this on the air yesterday, I've enjoyed talking to that guy who got it drafted in the second round that stayed. It's his moment. There's no one else around him and they're treated that way and they get excited and they always say they were happy they stayed. Their family's there, everything else. And so it's delicate, to say the least. But I don't think they had enough of the guys that would say yes as they dabbled into the group that made potentially second rounders. But I'm happy for Milroe because I do think there's some positive feedback about him right now.
All right. You mentioned right off the hop, David did, Carr's shoulder may not be able to play next year or deep into next year. Does that mean New Orleans has to take a quarterback at 9, Pat?
Yeah, I don't want to read into Carr. First of all, who makes the announcement in April that they may not be able to play next year? So didn't he try to get out of there? Didn't he go down and ask to get released? I think he did. At any rate, he's not your long-term answer. Just go draft one.
But do you have to take one at 9? Which basically means you have to take Sanders.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think they will, and he's probably going to be available. So if their grading system says that they like what he does and the way he does it, then you take him. You don't look back.
Is there any player that you're hearing that people are willing to trade up for? Because there are a lot of teams that would like to trade down, I think. But is there any one player that people want to trade up for? Is it the tackles? Is it for the defensive pass rushers? I mean, or are we going to have the fewest number of deals that maybe we've ever had?
It's a lot of people think it's going to be light on trades, but I made this point the other day. You got 3 teams that don't have enough draft picks, so they're looking to move down, and it's Washington with 5, and Minnesota with 4, and Atlanta with 4. Do you think they want the draft to end and they took 4 players? So they're trying to move down. I do think there's going to be a couple of small jumps. You might be in love with the tight end from Penn State. He might be 2 picks away. And 2 picks away happens to be, I don't know, Minnesota. I could see those kind of little trades. But your real question was, is there anyone? I think Hunter's the answer to that question. I think Abdul Carter's the answer to that question. Is there even a third guy? Now, I know someone who loves Kenneth Grant. And they need a big wide body. They don't need a 3 technique. They need a big wide body. Now, if he's 2 or 3 picks away, I could see someone jumping up for him.
Well, he's going to make it into the 20s.
I doubt it.
Really?
I know 2 teams that told me they like him more than they like Graham.
All right. You mentioned Carter and you mentioned Hunter. So that leads me back to Cleveland. If they're locked in on Hunter, is that the key point in this draft? And does that force, the Giants then get Abdullah Carter? I mean, when you look at Cleveland, first off, what would you do and what do you think they'll do?
Well, most people now think they're going to take Hunter. And Hunter is an interesting guy because if he didn't succeed as a superstar on one side of the ball, you could try him on. Dave Gettleman had a first-round pick, and he wouldn't take Isaiah Simmons because his room argued. I never brought this up on this show before. They argued about what he was. He went around the room and said, "What position is the guy?" They had outside linebacker, inside linebacker, defensive end, safety, corner. He goes, "Well, that's enough reason we're not taking him. We can't even figure out what he is." But I think Hunter's number 2, and I think Carter. Now, I got a kind of a strange report on Carter from someone was pretty close to the situation over there. Not someone who's observing it, but someone who had a chance to get to know that kid and watch him practice. He said, I'm not convinced the guy can disengage from a block. He wants to be free on the edge. He will do what he has to avoid contact because he doesn't want to get tied up. He's not that big. But those two guys, I think, will go 2-3 or 3-2, whichever way they want to go. I would think Hunter's going 2 and Abdul Carter's going 3 to the Giants. The Giants' history, different guys, but David, you're the historian of the Giants. They had 2 great defensive ends, and they still took one in the first round. He did blow his hand off with fireworks, so
right.
But no one thought they should take him.
Also, if you want to go back 50, 60 years, the Giants love taking guys out of the Big Ten. Love taking guys.
Well, I can go back to Ernie Accorsi. He loved anyone from Penn State.
Yep. And I think he's still listened to in that organization a little bit. I just don't know, unless Hunter is Dion, how you take a corner over a pass rusher. I don't know how you do that. I mean, 10 to 12 sacks off the edge has to be worth more than a number 1 corner.
Well, let's have that quick discussion. What equates to 10 sacks? 10 pass defense? 4 interceptions? What equates where you have to now go, that production's the same as? 4 interceptions is 4 times you got the ball back. The sack didn't get you the ball back. It might have forced a punt, but didn't get you the ball back. So what does a corner – look, we all know what it is. It's quarterback, pass rusher, lockdown corner, and left tackle. Those are the elite positions. But I remember having this discussion. Why don't we decide what is equal to 10 sacks from a corner? What would he have to do for you to say, yep, that's the same as 10 sacks?
He'd have to be a lockdown corner, if you know what I mean. Not just a number 1 corner. Jair Alexander's a number 1 corner. Gonzalez of the Patriots, okay, the Denver corner. Those are lockdown corners.
I agree with that. Not all the names you said, but I agree with the premise of it. You didn't study Gonzalez hard enough.
All right.
He's too slow.
Okay. Well.
Nice kid. He's a 1, but he's not a lockdown. So I use your definition.
All right. Fair enough. He's Pat Kirwan.
Mark's had enough of this. I just got the code. Get out of here.
No, we're running out of time. I could do it all day long. I love this draft stuff, and I love hearing what you have to say. But, Hunter, you got the offensive side of it as well that you've got to factor in when you're comparing him to Carter, and I think that has to be part of it.
Well, I know you're getting me off here, which is fine. What do you think he is first, a corner or a receiver?
He's a corner.
Thank you.
A corner. And he's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chains weekdays 3 to 7, joining us courtesy of Pinchers.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hi, Seth.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Getting ready to get out of here.
Yeah. Hang on, I'll be right back. I got to
take your time. I'll hold the court. And those are the players I know did steroids, and I'm never telling you again.
Yeah. I've heard that one before. What time you heading out today?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow, but like we're leaving like 7:30. Today, I have to go rent a car, even though I have a car.
Fixing your car?
No. We're driving to Maryland.
Okay. Oh, okay. Then you're going to fly.
To Maryland. And then I got to return the car there, fly to Tampa.
Right.
It's an adventure. As soon as I get done with you guys, though, my daughter never confirmed these tours.
Oh.
So I got some phone calls to make. And iHeart has me doing stuff today because I'm missing the weekend. Like, you can never just get, hey, have a good trip. Because I go on so many trips.
Right. Did you watch The People Are Curious, Seth? Did you watch The Masters?
It was on. I was working.
So now
it was on. My dilemma was my last report is at 6:50 and it was still tied. So it was I going to have the winner? Because then if I had the winner, I had a new national report I had to do. But I never did because they went into the playoff. But it was on. It wasn't like I found it. It was just on in the background. I'm not anti-golf. I'm pro-golf.
Very quickly, I don't understand the controversy. The guy in the shootout clearly scores. It's a goal.
Who?
The Blackhawks Canadians thing last night. They didn't award it a goal live, and Toronto came in and said, but they were a little late in doing so, and people are bent out of shape. The Chicago guy scored. It's a goal.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Normally, he joins us on a hump day. This is totally messing my mother up. My mother literally takes in this show. She wakes up at some point, turns us on, and she knows what day it is by our guest list. So on Tuesday, if she wakes up in time for David Samson, she's like, oh, it's a Tuesday. If she's listening to Pat Kirwan, she knows it's a Tuesday or a Friday. But she knows it's a Wednesday because that's when we talk to Seth Everett. I literally had to give her a heads up and say, you're not having a stroke, okay? Nothing has changed.
She's going to an appointment that she has scheduled for Wednesday morning.
Right. She's now thinking, oh, I'm late to go, right. I've got lunch with my friend today. No, it's still tomorrow. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Okay. Kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton, Hall of Justice. 2 more weeks on hiatus.
Yep.
And Sports with Friends, however, keeps on keeping on. How are you?
Yeah. Not this week, though. Not this week, because next week is we had the 500th episode, and I'm going away. That's why I'm with you guys a day early.
Right.
I'm not doing the 500th episode of a podcast that I've had for 10 years, and then I'm not going to do any promotion for it because I can't get to a computer.
All right.
So it's Sean McDonough, and it's next week.
Good deal.
Okay.
I am curious, Seth. ESPN announced here that they're they're ready for the fall launch of their direct-to-consumer app.
Yep.
And I'm curious as to how big of a game changer do you think this is? Because if someone like me, I've cut the cord, but I'm a YouTube TV guy. I need other sports channels in my life other than ESPN, so I get it through YouTube. It's not going to affect me a whole hell of a lot. I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to dump the $20 a month for the Bally's app or the FanDuel app or whatever the hell it is now, so I can watch the Marlins and Rays. How big of a game changer do you think ESPN's direct-to-consumer app is?
Well, there's 2 answers to that. The first answer is, to me, it's something I'm definitely taking a look at, because my issue in cord cutting is I have Hulu Live. That's like your YouTube TV.
Right.
And I don't watch it. I watch it 3 times a month. And it's when Arsenal gets moved to the USA Network, when Syracuse plays the random CW game. It's so infrequent that it's a waste of money. It's like $75. And $75 for 3 games doesn't hold water. Now, what does the ESPN app give you? The ESPN app gives you more than ESPN Plus. The ESPN app has certain broadcast rights that will be on this service that will not be on ESPN Plus. So what I have to weigh, this is just personally, is there enough of a void filled by this ESPN app that I could dump Hulu Live?
All right, but you're a hockey guy, Seth. I mean, that of the 4 major sports in North America, hockey, I would guess, is your number 1 sport now. More than baseball, more than the NBA, and I think even more than the NFL. And we'll leave the NFL out of this because it's its own giant.
Correct.
How do you get TNT? How do you get those playoff
I
hockey?
get TNT through Max. And I get Max through DoorDash. We have DoorDash. Honestly, DoorDash, my kids are addicted to DoorDash, right? DoorDash is our friend. And DoorDash has a deal with Max that if you have DoorDash, you have Max. So we have Max. And Max has, so for example, Devils Islanders on TNT on Sunday, that's Max for me. That's just click the Max app. And I don't know that it's TNT or TBS or
Right.
TV. It's just Max. I just press it. The examples I gave you are like the 3 times I've been on Hulu Live in the last 6 months. And, just because what Andrew Marchand, who I respect a lot and I read a lot, wrote a great point. He said, what the problem with these regional deals is the price point is too high.
Yes.
And $29 a month for Gotham, so I can see the Devils. The Devils play tomorrow night, and then they're on national TV the rest of the playoffs. I can't wait to delete Gotham. I will unsubscribe from Gotham, but I don't trust that Gotham will give you the credit for the month that you paid, because I don't trust anything with that Gotham app. Everything with that Gotham app, it's like the Bizarro app. And so what needs to be is there needs to be more uniformity. What ESPN is trying to figure out is first of all, their price point's going to be high. It's going to be $29. But if the content is so good that it's worth $29 and I can drop $75 of Hulu Live, I want to find out. But Syracuse plays on the CW and Arsenal plays on USA. And usually for Arsenal, for example, they make the bigger games on USA and sometimes NBC. It's the riffraff games that are on Peacock. So streaming is a mishmash. And all I've said, and I've said this to commissioners, is make it easy. Make it easy, because that's the only way young people will do it. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she's touring colleges. And when she goes to college, look, if she goes to college out of the New York area and ESPN Plus gives her every Devils game, that's easy. But if it's hard for her, she will find something else to do.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. This is going to be overly simplistic, but I am so tired of baseball fans complaining about the blackouts. And what I don't understand, and I mean it, if you are the commissioner of the sport, how come you can't eliminate the blackouts?
Well,
I'm not kidding.
I know the answer.
I think it's a major problem that the sport is having right now. I think it's worth an emergency meeting with the owners. Okay. I'd sit them all down and say, guys, by Friday, the blackouts have to disappear. Okay. What do we have to do?
Well, there's two things that baseball is considering, and fixing this blackout situation is not one of them. They are beholden to the Yeses, the Nessens, the Massens. They are beholden to them. And they will not have their MLB.TV package allow for a Yankee broadcast, for example, in an area where they want you to subscribe to Yes. They won't do it. They won't piss off their regional sports networks. Now, the problem is 2/3 of the sport don't have regional sports networks anymore.
Well, right, but this isn't a case of someone in Northern Jersey. I get they want the person in Northern Jersey to subscribe to the New York Metropolitan app,
Right.
okay?
But
But
Vegas,
if
you
you're
can't watch 8
baseball,
teams.
all the other sports, fans can watch all their teams' games. I mean, seriously, this is idiot.
That's not true,
2025.
but that's not true. You can't watch the Rangers in Connecticut.
No.
You can't go on ESPN Plus and watch the Rangers on Connecticut. And there's a better chance that MLB.TV gets sold to an Amazon or an Apple.
Well,
there's a better chance of that than getting your blackouts lifted.
Yeah, that's what I had read last week, is that they are looking to sell MLB TV.
Which is ironic, because they were the pioneer of the whole thing.
Right. I mean, because, I raved last week about the Masters app, and I know you're not a golf guy. I know you paid attention to it, but there's not a better app. There's not one that I use that is in the league of the Masters app. And that's why when I look
phone heavier.
That's when I look at ESPN and their app and the ease to use it is not good enough to me to make that direct-to-consumer run until they get their app straightened out, but they don't seem to think that's a problem. But a bigger question is, should MLB.TV sell that property? Because they're talking about that right now.
If they can get the money, Yeah, I mean, if they can streamline the whole thing and get the money, they need to try to replace the 550 that they lost. That's starting next year, and they have to think about all different ways. It's extraordinary to see, where that has come. It's so funny that we talk about baseball as being this old person sport. And this, that doesn't, apply to young people and all that stuff. They were the technical pioneer in creating a digital streaming platform to watch out-of-market games.
They were
It
10
was
years
remarkable.
ahead of the other leagues.
And I know the guy. His name is Joe Inzerillo. He designed it. He created MLB.TV. He is a genius, and he pulled it off. And what his thing was, how do we get it so that the servers aren't taxed? And I'll tell you, I was there, the story on how they came up with the concept of this. It was the MLB draft. The MLB draft is a nothing draft, but MLB.com, it was a big deal. And it would crash MLB.com. And Joe Inzerillo said, how do we make it so that we can provide a service on our website and not use our servers to broadcast it? And you say, well, that's easy. That's easy. Just do it. And it wasn't invented at the time. He invented that technology. It was remarkable. I witnessed it firsthand.
Well, it's a big problem in baseball. In this day and age, the sports fan does not want to hear the excuse. None. Why can't I watch my team play? If I have to pay for it, fine.
Sure,
that decision
but
is
it shouldn't
mine.
be $30 a month. The price point is too high.
But I will say this about baseball. You're getting almost a game a day. Okay. I could argue it. No, I mean, come on. If you're name the team, you mean to tell me your favorite team? I mean, Mark's, grew up in Michigan. I'm loyal to the Red River Valley and Twins Nation. You mean to tell me the Twins aren't worth $1 a day? Now, the way they're playing this year, maybe not, but you know what I'm getting at.
No, I know what you're getting at. But
I think
$30 for Gotham is
well, maybe not, but you could sell baseball, I think, at $30 a month for 6 months. I really think you could sell a season package for $1.99. I'm spending $1 a game to get my team.
Well,
okay.
and part of what needs to happen with these services is the broadcast quality needs to go up. And I'm not picking on the announcers, but the Gotham app, the broadcast is a mishmash. And very often it goes out of sync. So the announcers are like 4 seconds behind the play. And you have to exit out of the app and go back into the app. And it's just
that's absurd.
Easy. Make it easy.
All right. So you're telling us you have nothing this week.
Yeah, podcast. Well, I have about 900 other episodes people can listen to.
Well, I understand that, but nothing new this week.
Yeah,
and
Sports
then
with Friends
week
comes out a week from tomorrow, the 23rd. It's Sean McDonough. The week after, I can plug because I know who it is already. It's Joe Paterno's son, Jay. Jay Paterno in a very, very upfront, honest conversation. It's already recorded. So Sean McDonough, Jay Paterno, and then the Hall of Justice returns May 1st with Daredevil. But it'll have new opens by then.
That's way to go. I'm proud of you. Basically got a couple of weeks off here to, you can.
Yeah, I'm lounging around. Yep.
What Seinfeld rerun would you recommend then, since there's just reruns of your podcast?
Oh, listen to the Nancy Lieberman one. That's my favorite. People have asked me in the 500, what's my favorite episode? Nancy Lieberman, the women's basketball coach, was supposed to be on the helicopter that killed Kobe Bryant. And she revealed that on my podcast. That was the craziest day since I created that show. That is the craziest day. I was interviewing Lou Piniella at a dinner. It was 2 weeks before COVID. I was at the Thurman Munson dinner wearing a suit, and I interviewed Lou Piniella, and a PR guy comes over to me and says, "Did you just hear Nancy Lieberman?" I said, "No." He said, "Go up to her, introduce yourself, and beg her to tell that story again." And the story was she was supposed to be on the helicopter that killed Kobe Bryant. And wasn't because she moved it to Tuesday. Like she was just being lazy. And tells that story on my podcast. If you can find that episode, that is the one. That's my favorite episode of that podcast. That and the people who are no longer with us. Peter McNabb, Mel Antonin, those kinds of people.
Well, and also it came out in the last week or so with UConn women winning the title because Kobe's daughter would have been a freshman this year in
Yeah.
college, and she was going to UConn
Yep.
apparently, even
Yeah.
though there were a lot of other schools that she, her dad apparently told everybody she's going to UConn, so she would have been a freshman on this year's championship UConn team. But Seth Everett,
Did
follow
you?
him on, yeah.
No, did you guys see Carmelo Anthony as the commencement speaker this year at Syracuse's graduation?
Seth,
Did
we
he
pay attention.
graduate?
We
Did he
pay
graduate?
attention to a lot of things on this show. We don't necessarily pay attention to commencement speakers,
Did you
but
see
I know
who's
you're.
the commencement speaker at the University of Maryland? Kermit the Frog.
See, okay, you know what? That's a healthy poll question. Who's more qualified to be the commencement speaker?
Carmelo Anthony.
Kermit the Frog, or the guy who spent 1 year at the university, Carmelo?
Do you think he went back and took online classes?
No.
Kermit the Frog took online classes?
Yes, yes, he was. Kermit the Frog was on Zoom, but Gonzo kept going in his screen.
Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Seth, safe travels with your family, Miller and Moulton.
Mrs. Moulton, it's Tuesday.
The listeners for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David. Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and 1 replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp, and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You were watching the same thing I was watching there.
The Braves reporter?
Yeah. And Rachel Hoppenmayer is not happy about it.
Who's that?
She works at CBS Detroit. She retweeted it and said, example number 28,495 of why men get away with the bottom of the barrel content because misogyny is alive and well on sports television. A woman could never and would never without losing her job over this. Lazy, disappointing, offensive, grimy. I could go on. Yikes all around.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday, April 15th. You know what that means. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Although there are extensions, and I think in Florida, because of 2 hurricanes, you have time and what have you. But
yeah, I kind of panicked. I texted my accountant yesterday and like, what the hell's going on? I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. I was supposed to have this stuff Friday. And she's like, don't worry. We've got time. We're okay.
Right.
My wife, on the other hand, is freaking out. She wants this done in like February.
Right. Right. I understand. I'm married to someone like that also.
Well, you're like that also, though, aren't you? When it I mean, you're when it comes to, because I mean, you and my wife, I mean, I spend, all morning with you, the rest of the time with her. You two are still going to the bank, balancing your checkbooks to the penny and all of those things. So you're
True.
very similar in that.
But the difference is that it's been a long time since I have received money back. So I'm not in a hurry to send them what I owe them. Now, when I used to get money back, and it was never a lot of money, but when I used to get money back, then yeah, we got to file this sucker, and I want to pay for the express. Yeah, I want it in my account as soon as possible. Yeah, March. Can you give me my money? I need some money to, have some fun with the madness here. Come on now. But now that, I'm writing them checks, I got no problem if it goes out on the 14th or the 15th.
Talked a lot of different sports today. We closed the book on the Masters. We've talked a little NBA with Keith Smith. Talked some NFL with Pat Kirwan. Great Masters story and golf stories from David Samson, top of the 7:00 hour. And we just talked with Seth Everett. But I am sensing, David, because of the news of the morning sports-wise, that the Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey are out looking for trade partners and following posts on X all morning. And I follow a decent amount of Dolphins people. The Dolphin fan base is collectively losing their minds this morning.
Yeah, and they should be. The reason they should be, in my opinion, is because there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or a reason to what they're doing. That's why I asked the question 2 hours ago when the Ian Rappaport story broke, that Jalen Ramsey and the Dolphins are working together on finding a trade partner to get rid of him. My question is simply, why? I would totally have understood this if this was 5 weeks ago. If they wanted to unload him I mean, as a fan, I'd kind of like to know why. I mean, he's probably one of our 3 best players. So could you give me a little something as to why? But I'm not necessarily owed that. I get it. But at least I would have had his 21 million, and it would have been 24 million because I wouldn't have paid the roster bonus yet.
Right.
And I could have done something with that. I mean, see, Mark, it was a little thing, but it spoke volumes to Dolphin when they re-signed Liam Eichenberg. Even if the intention is to just have him be a backup offensive lineman, the fan base had come to the conclusion this guy can't play. We have to upgrade the offensive line. What in the world are we doing re-signing the Liam Eichenbergs of the world? You got to be kidding me. So now I'm going to get rid of Jalen Ramsey in mid-April and do what with that money? Do what exactly? What am I doing? I mean, I hope, who am I signing long-term? And I need this money. No, seriously, as a Dolphin fan, I want to know, what are we doing with this money? Who's out there in free agency that we're going to bring in? Is there a stud defensive tackle I'm unaware of? Is there a stud offensive lineman that I'm unaware of?
No, there's not. I mean, we all know, and I know you're being a little sarcastic, at this point in free agency, what you're dealing with is gap guys on 1-year deals for the most part to bring you depth.
Yeah,
that's what's left.
There's a couple of veteran wide receivers that are starting caliber. They are. Now, the first digit now is a 3. Okay, but there's a couple of veteran wide receivers that if a team signed to 10, 12, 14 million, I could understand. Short-term deal. But if a team brought in an Amari Cooper, this is one of those deals. If I'm a Dolphin fan, if we're getting rid of Tyreek, fine. Can we sign Amari? Who, by the way, is from Miami. Can we sign Amari Cooper? In which I'm saving money. I'm moving on from Tyreek, but I'm still trying to win. See, Mark, have they at any point in time since the season ended to now told us they are not trying to win this year?
No. And I don't know if they've come out and said, anything about rebuilds or winning championships, but the people who cover them are of the assumption that this is a make or break year for the GM and coach.
Right.
And I think that's rightly so. But if they are allowing this teardown, what scares me more, does that mean Greer's safe? And if I'm a Dolphin fan and Greer's going to continue on as my general manager, what the hell am I doing buying tickets?
Well, but also think about this. What have been the biggest moves since Chris Grier has become general manager that they've made? What have been the biggest moves? And you can put them in whatever order you want. Tyreek, well, they're kicking the tires on moving on. Jalen Ramsey, Teron Armstead. Hello? So these are your best, biggest moves. One guy's retired. You're actively trying to move one of the other two, and you're kind of sort of trying to move the third, but he's a little more difficult to move because of his age and his contract. And these are the 3 biggest moves that you've made as GM?
So
tell me Brian Flores doesn't feel really good about the situation he's in right now as defensive coordinator of the Vikings. Who gets a head coaching job next, Mike McDaniel or Brian Flores?
Oh, that's not even close. It's Brian Flores. David, this has gone so badly in Miami with this style and offense. When McDaniel gets gassed, is he a coordinator next, or is he a run game coordinator? passing game coordinator. You know what I'm getting at. He's coached himself right down the list. And then the other one, they brought over Bradley Chubb in a trade. He's been injured.
That's what has struck me this morning. Why are they trading Jalen Ramsey? I don't care if he's taken a look around and has decided, I can't get my ring here, trade me somewhere else. That doesn't interest me. We paid you. Shut up. Show up for minicamp or just show up for training camp. I don't even care if you show up in May or June. Late July, your butt better be in Davie. I don't care. I paid you. Gave you everything you wanted. We even got rid of the defensive coordinator that you didn't like. Okay, shut up. But I already needed Mark a cornerback. I mean, cornerback was on the list of needs heading into this draft for the Dolphins. And I'm going to trade Jalen Ramsey? And I'm going to trade him now when I can't do hardly anything with his money? Who's the guy on the team who's not locked up long term that I can spend this money on? Both wide receivers are locked up. The quarterback's locked up. No offensive lineman is worth being locked up for. Tell me who on defense now is worth the big.
Not with the injuries they've had to their key players. You can't trust them long term, David.
So you've let certain key guys go. I mean, listen, in all honesty, was he worth what he was asking for, and was he worth what he got on the market? No. But if we're unloading Jalen Ramsey, well, then hell, I could have unloaded him 5 weeks ago and kept Javon Holland. At least I'd have a competent safety. Yeah, I'm overpaying him, but so what? Now I'm going to have no Jalen Ramsey and no Javon Holland. And what the hell can I do with the money that I saved?
Now, as Pat pointed out to us, they're exploring this. It doesn't mean they're going to trade him. They think they're going to get a 1. If they don't, will they then not trade him? That's really the question that remains. But the fact that it's out there shows more incompetence by the Dolphins, and it seems to be an ongoing battle with this front office of trying to do the right thing, and they seemingly never do.
See, I think now Greer and them look bad if they don't get rid of him. See, this isn't Jalen Ramsey has asked for a trade. This is Jalen Ramsey and the Dolphins have agreed to try to move Jalen Ramsey somewhere else. It's tough to then turn around 2 weeks from now and go, well, we didn't get an offer that we liked. Any offer would have saved you $21.1 million. Yeah, sure. You wanted a first round pick. You couldn't get a 2 and a 3. You couldn't get a 2 this year and a 3 next. Couldn't get a 2 and a 4 this year and a 3 next. Let me ask you, by the way. You're Green Bay. You're Detroit. You give up your first round pick for Jalen Ramsey?
Think I would if I'm Detroit.
You're damn right I would.
I think I would if I'm Detroit. They're picking pretty deep in the draft. What's going to be there at 20 whatever when they pick?
What are they picking, 28? I mean,
yeah.
Come on now. It's go-to time. It's time to win a Super Bowl. Time to get to a Super Bowl. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. 25 minutes away.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Orlando's losing his mind, Sonny.
The Big O is saying the Dolphins are a sinking ship and that McDaniel is a disaster and that the guys know it and they want out. Now, what I will say, though, is that the Big O has been a pretty big supporter of Chris Greer. And I will try to get him on tomorrow. He's had some health stuff going on.
Yeah.
lately.
Seems to be better.
Yes. You know, the Dolphins have the longest playoff win drought in the league. Unbelievable. By the way, how about that Pistons stat earlier? That means they haven't won a playoff game since the George W. Bush administration.
It's kind of a long time.
Yeah, you could say that. We had only been doing a show together 2 years. You hadn't met your wife yet, had you?
Hell no.
I know when you got married.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Some final thoughts all coming up. So, did you see the announcement that ESPN made yesterday?
No, I may have, but I don't know what it is you're referring to.
It was a programming announcement. It wasn't about a person that they re-signed or what have you. So ESPN, have you seen the Savannah Bananas?
I have not. They were here in Fort Myers. I had not gone, but I now that you say it, I did see it, that they're televising however many Savannah Banana games this year.
10.
Yeah.
It begins in about a week and a half at Clemson.
Right.
In which apparently they're going to have 80 plus thousand. I think it's going to be the biggest crowd they've ever played in front of. Now, of the 10 games that ESPN is broadcasting, 8 of them are on ESPN2. But they're broadcasting Savannah Banana games.
Yep.
In Clemson, mid-May Nashville, early June Charlotte, late June DC, July 5th on ESPN from Fenway.
Yeah, I mean, David, they are the modern day Harlem Globetrotters. The Harlem Globetrotters were on ABC all the time. I mean, it's a very popular thing. They did the 60-minute story. They're selling out every stadium that they go to across the country. Why wouldn't ESPN get involved in this? There are actually people that are interested in this. There's a lot of stuff they carry that people aren't interested in.
They are showing 3 Savannah Banana games within a 7-day period. Late July, they're in Philly, and then August 1st and 2nd, back to back. First game on ESPN, second game on ESPN2. And you're right. They were just profiled on 60 Minutes. Okay. I think Leslie Stahl was the reporter. She had a great question/comment to the, lead banana, if you will, in which she said that, longtime baseball writer and broadcaster Tim Kirchin took in you guys earlier this year and said, "This is the most insane thing I've ever seen." And I loved it. But that is interesting. I had not made that connection, that they're the new Globetrotters.
Yes, not close. It's exactly who they are. Exactly who they are. I wonder if by chance ESPN would get Wiley Ballard to do some of the sideline reporting for the Savannah Banana games.
Uh-oh.
He's a sideline reporter for the Atlanta Braves. And I want to get to this story quickly. I know David may be cringing right now because he knows where I'm going with this.
No.
But I'm telling you, this story is going to be big by the end of the day. During the top of the fifth between the Braves and the Blue Jays, Wiley Ballard, who is the sideline, if you will, field reporter for Braves games, does the field report where he interviewed two fans in attendance. He was up on the rooftop seats, if you will, and he was interviewing two women, Lauren and Kayla, about if they regularly attend games and this, that, and the other.
Right.
But at the end of it, he gets the phone number of one of the girls.
And he was egged on to get it. Okay. I mean, first off, they're killing time, obviously, and he's going to the trendy place at a Braves game. Why don't you come, sit in these seats, have a drink, take in your Braves? And these are two attractive women in their 20s. And so he's in the middle of them and, hey, basically, do you come here often? That sort of deal. The one's like, I come once a year. I'm from out of town. The other one's like, I'm a Braves fan. Trying to keep hope, but I don't know. It's getting tough. Okay. And then he throws it back to the booth.
And Brandon Gaudin, the play-by-play man, says, okay, Wiley, you've got 4 innings to get the numbers.
Right.
Give us some more Braves fans. And Ballard replied, I'm on it. I'm on it.
Now, it could have ended there. But what to me was interesting was the producer and director kept his mic on, even though they're now showing action, a foul ball and this, that, and the other thing. They kept his mic on, and you can hear the dialogue between him and the one lady who only comes into town once a year. And he's like, they want me to get your number. She's like, what? And he's like, yeah, they want me to get your number. Then the guys in the booth are joking, wow, we should have tried this 20, 30 years ago. How come we weren't smart enough to do this?
And some people, and you can easily figure out who, think it's a very funny and harmless moment. Many others are basically saying how completely inappropriate this was. And that if a female sideline reporter did this with 2 male fans, that her career would be over instantly. That part I don't know about. Maybe it would. Do you think if a female did that, her career, literally, I've seen at least 5 retweets or reposts from female reporters going, career over if you do that as a woman.
I think the woman may have salvaged her career because she was being egged on by the booth. All right. So if she did it just to make the 2 guys in the booth happy, okay, she might just catch some grief. Mark, let's be honest. It would depend on if the organization has a sense of humor and how much the organization likes their broadcast crew.
But you're going to hear more about this throughout the day today. Now I want to find out if they actually go on a date. I'm fascinated by this.
So we started trying to have fun, baseball, the Savannah Bananas, and then, an in-game reporter taking it to a place that we don't normally go, being egged on by the booth. He went there. Listen, if the producer thinks it's inappropriate, the producer would have gotten in the ears of the guys in the booth and the sideline guy right away and said, shut this down. Enough. Was cute. Don't go any further. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Right. Are you surprised the producer let it go on?
No. No, I'm not.
So that was last night at the Braves game. Boy, Might need MLB TV for tonight and figure out how game 2 of this series goes.
What's his name? Wyatt?
Wiley?
Wiley? Okay. Don't they have to at some point today throw it back to him and say, well, your fifth inning report last night has gotten a lot of feedback. First thing we want to know, so did you talk to so-and-so today? Are you guys going out?
I would think they almost have to. If not, they're going to give an apology. They're going to do one of two things. They're going to ask him early, or they're going to apologize early.
Man, if you're the Braves, let me get this straight. So we were promoting having fun at a game. We interviewed two women in their 20s who decided on a Monday night to take in a Braves game. And we have young people flirting with one another while taking in a Braves game. Huh. And we're a last place team right now. I don't know if you want to throw water on this parade, if you know what I mean, Mark.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, tadalafil, and Viagra, sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American-made, at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Full show today. David Samson, Keith Smith, Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett. Missed any of it? Go to millerandmoulton.com, millerandmoulton.com.
You know, we didn't really talk about this at all today, and I don't even know if we should. But we have a couple of big Colorado fans in our Twitch chat room. They are retiring Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter's numbers at the University of Colorado. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I can understand the one number. I mean, the one guy did win the Heisman.
Okay. The other guy was 13-12 as a starter.
Yeah.
How in the hell are you retiring his number? That's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Okay.
I agree. I would be surprised if they didn't retire Travis Hunter's number. I don't like making this announcement their career ended an hour and a half ago. I mean, also just give it a little bit of air, a little bit of room. I mean, make the announcement in a year even, but I don't know. But to me, Mark, I mean, come on. You win a Heisman. Doesn't that school have to retire your number?
Okay. I can deal with that.
But yeah, Shedeur Sanders, terrific player for him. There's no doubt about it. But
I don't like retiring college numbers for the most part. I like holding them back. I think if you get an excellent recruit and the guy has all kinds of skills, I'd have no problem if the folks in Ann Arbor gave him number 1, if you know what I mean.
Right. No, I've changed my tune on that. You and others have gotten me to change my tune. The key part of the equation to me is if it's okay with either the person or that person's family. If they're like, because who was the Michigan guy who?
Oh, it was generations ago.
Right. And he wanted to wear the number, and they thought, well, this is great because this will bring attention to my granddad's career. I'm totally in favor of this.
Thought it was very odd for Shedeur Sanders' number to be retired by Colorado. They want to retire Hunter, fine. I wouldn't, but the Sanders thing to me is an absolute joke.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was a day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Call today, 427-3441. That's 239-427-3441 for either their Bonita or Naples location, or go online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off of your service. We start today in 1865 after being shot the day before Abraham Lincoln dies today. 1892, the General Electric Company is formed by the merger of Edison's General Electric Company with Thomas Houston's Electric Company. J.P. Morgan arranged all of it. I'm sure he didn't make any money on the deal.
No, he was just a, volunteer consultant.
Exactly. 1896, the first modern Summer Olympics game close in Athens, Greece. The Titanic sinks today. It hit the iceberg yesterday, sinks today.
Do you know who was supposed to be on that?
Is it Milton Hershey? The Hershey Air was supposed to be on that, and due to business had to leave early or late and took a different ship home.
Right. A German ship, which apparently went a similar route, but navigated the icebergs obviously successfully.
Today in 1926, Sesquicentennial Stadium opens in Philadelphia. It would be renamed Philadelphia's Municipal Stadium, later renamed JFK. The Tunney Dempsey fight in 26, 41 Army-Navy football games, and also the U.S. portion of Live Aid in 1985. It was demolished in 1992. Today is Jackie Robinson Day. He becomes the first African-American to play in the major leagues in 1947. Ray Kroc opens his first McDonald's franchise in Des Plaines, Illinois. 1975, the first appearance of the San Diego Chicken. Fuzzy wins the Masters today in 79 on the second hole of a playoff with Ed Snead and Tom Watson.
Snead finished bogey, bogey, bogey to make the playoff possible.
Crenshaw wins his first of 2 green jackets today in 1984, beating Tom Watson by 2.
Did you see the putt on 10? They showed it Sunday. I think Rory had just birdied it or what have you. And they showed Crenshaw's putt, which was like 60 feet. Bob Murphy was doing the announcing, and Bob Murphy on the air says, quote, "That's the greatest putt I've ever seen in my life."
In Living Color premiered on Fox TV today in 1990. It was today in 97 that baseball retired number 42 for all teams. Today in 2013, the bombing at the Boston Marathon. And in 2019, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris catches fire. Leonardo da Vinci, Nikita Khrushchev, Elizabeth Montgomery, and Roy Clark would have all celebrated birthdays today. Country star Chris Stapleton is 47. Seth Rogen is 43. Emma Watson from the Harry Potter films is 35. Macy Williams from Game of Thrones is 28. And gymnast Jordan Childs is 24 years old today. What did I miss, David?
No, you hit all the highlighted stuff on my list.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Estero, Florida for the good. And what could have been a tragic story seems like it's going to be a good one. 9-year-old Mason from Estero had a health challenge following an incident at school. The Estero Fire and Rescue Station responded to the call. They transferred him to the Golisano Children's Hospital. He had a brain tumor. He underwent brain surgery. He came home the other day, and the Estero Fire Department was there to greet him when he returned home. As they said, it's not often crews get to see their patients after the call. So all the best to young Mason. For the bad, we go to a scumbag in Estero, Florida. His name is Chad Perro. He was arrested for abusing his dog on several occasions. Neighbors had seen him doing it. It was so bad that the neighbors installed Ring cameras so that they could film the man abusing his dog. He was arrested. Many videos were turned over to police as he was rotten to his golden doodle. I'm sure that dog will be available for adoption soon. And finally, the ugly. This is something. We go to outside of Orlando, where the owners of Wicked Wonderland have been arrested for selling human remains on Facebook Marketplace.
Wow.
Kimberly Shopper and Ashley Lazelle were arrested and charged with the purchase or sale of human organs and tissue, according to court records. When police began to look into the store, they received a tip that they were selling human bones. On the Facebook page, it advertised various human bones for sale, complete with pricing information. If you were wondering, skull fragments, $90. A clavicle went for $90, a rib $35, a vertebrae $35, and a partial human skull for $600.
Golly.
When police spoke to one of the owners, she said she'd been selling bones for several years and was unaware it was prohibited in the state of Florida. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Tuesday, April the 15th, here on Miller and Moulton.
NBA play-in tonight, 2 games. TNT will have the basketball tonight. 7:30, Atlanta at Orlando. Magic a 5.5-point favorite. Winner is the 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. They get the Celtics. Loser hosts the play-in game on Friday. And then 10 o'clock tonight, 2 48-win teams in a play-in. Shows you how tough the West was. Memphis and Golden State. Warriors a 7.5-point home favorite. Winners the 7 seed in the West. They get Houston. Loser hosts the winner go home game on Friday. The 9-10 play-in games, which are elimination games, are tomorrow night. NHL, 10 games tonight. There are 5 that I believe have playoff implications. First of all, Florida at Tampa has no implications for the Panthers. I'll be curious how they play it tonight, Mark. It's their final game of the regular season. You're going to, in all likelihood, see Tampa beginning Saturday or Sunday in the first round. Tampa is still mathematically able to finish first. They need to win their final 2 games and have Toronto lose their final 2 games. Toronto's in Buffalo tonight. 1 point by the Leafs or the Lightning not getting 2 points tonight. Toronto wins the division. And Tampa will finish ahead of Florida, because even if Florida wins tonight and they finish with the same number of points, the Lightning have more regulation wins. But there's a good chance the 2 wild cards get determined tonight out west, Mark. So Calgary is the one chasing both St. Louis and Minnesota. They're 2 points behind Minnesota. They're a point behind St. Louis. Minnesota and St. Louis both in action tonight, both at home. St. Louis hosting Utah, Minnesota hosting Anaheim. They win, they're in. Calgary's out. But these are the final regular season games for the Blues and the Wild. If they don't get a win tonight and clinch, although Minnesota can clinch with a point, I believe. But I believe Calgary needs, or St. Louis needs 2.
That's right.
If they don't clinch tonight, then Calgary, with a win tonight against Vegas and a win in their finale, can steal the final playoff spot out west. So 10 games tonight, 5 of them with playoff implications. Panthers, Lightning. I'll be very curious who's in the lineup, if anybody's going to be rested. Are they going to play this like this is, we're going to get this playoff series started, 5 days early? Are they really going to go after each other? Curious.
I'll be interested, and I'm a little nervous because you and I are both big NHL fans, but with no Boston, no New York, no Detroit, no Chicago, that's 4 original 6 teams that will not play in the postseason. And when you look at Boston and New York particularly, who have had playoff runs seemingly every year forever, what the NHL playoff numbers are going to be like this year. I would imagine they're going to be down early.
Mark, ESPN and Turner are freaking out because apparently it is the first time in the history of the league that between the Bruins, the Penguins, and the Rangers, that none of the 3 made the playoffs. Never mind what you mentioned with the Blackhawks and or any other draw, like the Wings. Baseball, everybody in action tonight. There is actually a nationally televised game. Tuesdays, TBS at 7 o'clock. It's Cleveland at Baltimore.
Wow. Could have had Royals, Yankees, or Red Sox, Rays, and they go with Cleveland and Baltimore. Interesting choice.
So Marlins back home to start a series against the Diamondbacks. Rays continue their homestand in their series against the Red Sox. So there you have it.
By the way, I think Golden State wins tonight. I don't think they cover. I think I would take the 7.5 in Memphis if I were to play that game, David.
I'm totally with you. And I got to be honest, I might take Atlanta in the 5.5. You know, Trae Young in the playoffs has been really good. I think I'd take Orlando to win, but I think I'd take the Hawks in the points as well. Miller and Moulton, have a great rest of your day. And let's get over the hump together tomorrow, shall we? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
American Paint Supplies for nearly 30 years is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Basketball's heating up the hardwood. What a great time to stop in at the Floor Meisters and look at their hardwood. A large selection to choose from, including Mirage hardwood flooring. Floor Meisters has a look and style you want. Mirage wood is grown and made in Canada from the finest quality wood flooring you'll find. And while you're in, ask to see the Petite Enfant collection. 5 custom colors made only for the Floor Meisters. So good it has a 35-year warranty. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard, next to Costco, or floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.